Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Thursday night August meeting of your Lewisville Town Council. Gosh, I can't tell you how nice it is to see all you here tonight. I'm looking at some faces out here that I've known for 35 years. You haven't aged, but I sure have, so it's good to see you guys. It really is nice. And we're going to spend some time with you all here in just a little bit. We'll do our customary roll call.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ivan Huffman.
I'm Tom Lawson.
And happy Thursday evening. My name's Melissa Hunt.
I'm Mike Horn.
I am Ken Sapp.
Welcome. I'm Jane Welch.
Very good. We will have the invocation led by Councilmember Welch, and I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are able, please stand and join us.
Dear Heavenly Father, we praise you and we thank you. We thank you especially for those who protect us, our sheriff, our deputy, our armed services. Be with this council tonight and our staff as we look and debate about the welfare of our citizens. Help us to remember that we're not a community just for the wealthy, just for any one group of individuals, but we realize that homes and lifestyles variety is what makes a community healthy. Help us be there for all our people. When diversity is present in communities, our community is at our healthiest. Guide our nation and help the leaders protect our democracy and enhance our democracy. And at this time of year, as our children start back to school, Lord, guide our administrators, our staff, and our teachers. Please help each to recognize children that come not from a happy home, maybe a hungry home or a sad home. Be with them and help them to be noticed and helped. Protect all of us as we leave here tonight, and we ask this all in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Jane. That was lovely.
Oh, thank you.
It's lovely. We also have with us tonight our staff, our town manager, Stacy Tolbert, our town attorney, Elliot Fuss, our town public works director, John Hanna, our town planning director, Len Cochran. I'm going around the room now. We have our community policing sergeant, P.J. Stringer. And as I go around anymore, I don't see anybody else in the back. We have our town clerk, Angie Lord, and we have our town finance director, Pam Orell. And I know she's going to pop her head out of that back door in just a minute. Our town communications director, Veronica Ledger. Thank you, Veronica. Very good. Madam Clerk, have there been any changes to our agenda since our briefing?
No, sir, there has not.
Very good. Council members, that's our agenda for this evening. May we please have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Huffman makes the motion. Ms. Hunt makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is our agenda for this evening. Stacy, you have our first item, our consent agenda.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
On tonight's consent agenda is Resolution 2025-028, financial statements for year ended June 30, 2025, preliminary and unaudited. Next is approval of agenda briefing minutes for July 3rd, 2025, approval of regular meeting minutes for July 10th, 2025, and lastly, approval of special meeting minutes for July the 21st, 2025.
Thank you. Any questions for the manager? If not, what's your pleasure, Council?
Mayor, under the consent agenda, item A, I'd like to pull it for further discussion. I have a few questions about that.
Without objection from Council, we'll pull that from the consent agenda. Anything else? Entertain a motion, please.
And
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Welch makes the motion. Dr. Sadler makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is unanimous. Dr. Sadler.
So, in reference to item A, resolution dealing with the financial statements for year-end, preliminary and unaudited, Have there been any changes since this was first published before the briefing?
Yeah, since this was published, more revenues and expenses have come in. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Yes, these numbers are very preliminary that you're looking at, so they have changed. And I'm still expecting more revenues and expenses to come in. So over the next month or so, this number will change again. I can tell you for sure, though, that all expenses did come in under budget. And I am expecting a significant increase in the fund balance, mostly because we did transfer the remainder of our ARPA money into the general fund this year. And that was almost $400,000. So I am expecting a growth in the fund balance.
Okay, that's what I saw when I reviewed it. It looked like around 500 or so thousand. I think that's what I saw. An increase in fund balance. Is there any time? Is this time sensitive at all in terms of when this is dealt with?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
Is it time sensitive as to when this is? That's really now, huh? Time sensitive as to when it should be dealt with.
What do you mean,
The
Denver?
resolution. Why is it being presented tonight? I guess is the question.
No, you do not have to adopt it because they are preliminary and unaudited.
Right.
So,
My inclination would be to wait until the numbers are final. I mean, if there's no urgency to taking action tonight, I would rather wait.
Any objection? Very good. Without objection, we will pull that over into our September meeting. We should have numbers by then. October,
probably more like October.
November meeting.
Yeah.
Very good. The good news is that we're in real good shape right now.
We're in very good shape. Yes, sir.
And that's good news in this county. All righty. One of the things that I'm allowed to do as mayor and have the privilege to do is recognize individuals and organizations in Lewisville that have made significant contributions to our community. Tonight is one of those occasions. And ladies and gentlemen, I know a lot of you are here for the first time, but I'm going to ask your indulgence because this organization is really the Lewisville community. This is the organization that has been here for 80 years. And I look around the room and I see so many of you who have made so many contributions in your leadership of the organization and in your membership of the organization. So I ask your indulgence. I may take a while and have to put on my glasses to read a lot of the things that we have to read, but if you allow me, I'd like to do that at this point. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I see your glasses too. Okay, how's that? Can you all still hear me? Very good, thank you. In 1993, when I first ran for town council, I went around and talked to folks, and I said, what should I do? Who should I be talking to? And the first thing that people said is, you better join the Civic Club. This is an organization that was founded in 1945. This is the 80th year of their existence. I want to just take a second and read for you some of the things that they've accomplished over that time. And again, I ask your indulgence on this the evening or two because we really celebrate how we are as a town and how we became that. The organization was started, of course, in 1945. They had a number of accomplishments. I'm really only highlighting about a third of all the things that they've done, but these are very significant ones. We talk about paving of our roads. Well, most people don't realize that the Lewisville Civic Club is responsible for paving our first roads. I mean, now we rely on Pell funds, we rely on the state, we rely on, of course, on our town maintenance, but these are the guys that got out there and did it. In 1948, how many of you are Lewisville citizen? If you're residents of Lewisville, how many of you guys are residents of Lewisville? Okay, some of you. I started the publication, The Lewisville Citizen, to keep the community informed. And to this day, as far as I know, there is not another community that does a hard copy newsletter mailed to all residents. And we do this, every 2 months. Veronica, pop your head off for a second. There she is. And Veronica, our communication specialist, has really elevated what's in our newsletter, what it looks like, and the information it carries. But thank you, Lewisville Civic Club, because when we do surveys and we ask how people find out most of their information about Lewisville, they say, through your newsletter. So thank you guys for doing that. In 1950, the Lewisville Civic Club organized the softball league. I see some people in here who played in that softball league. Those of you that can still walk. Who played in that softball league. But they raised a tremendous amount of money for community projects that were distributed through the Civic Club. Most of you will not recognize the name of Bud Fulton, but Bud was our Mr. Softball in Lewisville. And he is the guy that every night was out there manning the concession stands, cleaning the field, brushing off the bases, and making sure that everything worked correctly. Bud was a Lewisville legacy. In 1951, the Lewisville Civic Club formed the Lewisville Volunteer Fire Department, and they raised money to buy the first fire engine. Well, back then, a fire engine probably cost, I'm guessing maybe $35,000 or $40,000. Today, that same fire engine is $850,000. And the next thing I read, actually, I'm going to step back one. One of the reasons that problems, like, I'll offer to just keep you this way. One of the reasons they started the volunteer fire department was because our school burned down. And when it did, they said, gosh, we need to have somebody to put out fires. So they helped not only rebuild the school, but they organized the volunteer fire department for our community. In 1962, they raised money to build a home for the victims of multiple sclerosis, compassion and kindness. Their summer recreation programs and horse shows went on for 16 years. And a number of you here are old enough to remember the horse shows. Those were some of the highlights of Lewisville. Some of our roads weren't even paved when they were doing the horse shows. But could we do that again? We just need to have. The question is, shows not. That's not going to work. They led our incorporation effort in 1991. They hold their annual charity golf tournament since 2006, and that's to support the club's charitable contributions. Any of you are golfers, and they're free tomorrow, and your golf clubs are clean, and your spikes still fit. Is it Salem Glen? Yes. The tournament will be at Salem Glen. And while if you go out and register tomorrow, you're not going to be able to get a goodie bag, but that's too late. But you can still register and play in this wonderful tournament that raises so much money for our community. When we first thought about building community, and I told you I was going to get long, so please, again, bear with me. When we first decided that we were going to incorporate, one of the important things that we talked about is how do you build a town? How do you build community? And one of the projects that we were so proud of, and the Lewisville Civic Club was instrumental in that, and that's Shallowford Square. That's where all of our neighborhoods come together, and as you all know, 16, 18 events in the summertime, free to our residents, a wide variety of entertainment. Mr. Franklin is sitting right over there. He's been on the council. He's one of the ones that said, I think we should allocate, back then it was the price of a movie ticket, and he's chuckling, I believe it was probably $5.50 or something like that, for every resident in Lewisville that goes into our recreation fund. And that money goes directly into the activities that we do in the summertime for our residents. The Civic Club co-sponsors our tree lighting. I hope some of you all have been there. That's quite an event. They sponsor the Lewisville Christmas Parade. If you can pull it, ride it, drive it, or tow it, you can be in the parade. It's a fabulous parade, and everybody has a great time. We usually have 5,000 to 10,000 people lining Shallowford Square for that parade. Of course, they sponsor our candidates forum every year. Bo Howe is in here someplace. There he is. And Bo is our moderator. And the Civic Club organized that so our community can get to know our candidates for council. They provide an amazing amount of support for families in need in Lewisville. They don't make a big deal about it. They don't name it. They don't put it on plaques or put it in the paper. But they are there when our residents need help. And that could be food. That could be clothing. That could be help mowing the yard. That could be home repairs. That's what this group does. They donated $20,000 to purchase books, arts, and other needs when we built our library right across the street. That was a big step because what's a library without books? And back then, everybody read the things that you open up and read. I'm almost through. I think I'm almost through. Okay. That's seeing. Come on. Hey, Joyce, will you separate this page this morning? Joyce was our town clerk for 20 years and 25 years, and she was she was the backbone of keeping me straight and making sure I got things done. They contribute to the restoration and movement of the Nissen House. And you know the Nissen House sits right back here, and if you all haven't been by to see it, please go by. It's a fabulous memory of who we were and what we were during the time when Nissen built the famous Nissen covered wagon as folks came down the Shelterford from Pennsylvania. And this is where they could have their wagons repaired, but also where they could buy a Nissen wagon. There's a whole lot more on this page. Most recently, they made contributions to Samaritan's Purse for hurricane relief. I'm understating what they've done for our town. Thank you, Stace. I'm understating what they've done for our town, but if you look around, so much of who Lewisville is and what we are is because of what the Civic Club has done. We're going to thank them here in a minute as a group. I just wanted to read those few accomplishments. We have with us tonight. Are you ready, guys? Jerry Farmer, past president, 1993. Kenneth King, past president, 1996. Come on up here, guys. Joe Eskridge, past president, 1999. Tom Lawson, come on down, Tom, past president, 1999 and 2000. Mark McClellan, I believe, is here. Yeah, there he is. 2001. Joyce Walker, past president, 2002. And you were president again, weren't you? Yes. Okay, good. Very good. Larry Morris, past president, 2005. Brian Schumack. Where are you, Brian? Come on up here. Yeah, please do. Yeah, we're getting a little heavy over here. Not with us tonight, of course, is the current president, Joe Beeler, and they are doing an amazing job. Mike Jones, come up here because I let you off for a reason. Thank you, Steve. Mike was president 45 years ago. I know he doesn't look it, but he was president 45 years ago. And he told me just a little while ago, I didn't realize this, but he is I'm not going to say the oldest living president. You're the only living president. No, you're the oldest living president. What are you?
Joyce Walker, you're told you're wrong.
Okay.
Jerry is actually 2 years older than I am.
Okay, Mr. Harvard.
That did not happen.
So Mike is maybe the second oldest. So Jerry, come up here and stand with Mike because I want to make this presentation to both of you. And folks, I made a mistake, which I often do, and there's always people to cover for me, but this time I made a big mistake. They're receiving an award tonight for, I'm one of the reasons Lewisville is a great place to live. Clearly, that is true. But we really should be doing a proclamation tonight, recognizing them and proclaiming that today, maybe next week, is Lewisville Civic Club Day. Now, I'm going to get back to it. Before I leave office, I'm going to get back to that. We're going to do that. So on behalf of the Lewisville Town Council, its residents, and the many people who are indebted to you and with great gratitude, the Lewisville Civic Club is recognized for outstanding contributions to the town of Lewisville and its residents since 1945. So guys, come on in here a little close and we'll get a picture because some of you all may not be around that long.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the Civic Club here in the audience tonight? Please stand up, guys and gals. And we have folks behind me on council. Council members, if you'll stand up, because you are members. Very good. Please give them a big round of applause. You can accept your check. Thank you, folks.
There's one thing that
What's that?
I know you couldn't cover everything because there's a long list, but dear and dear in my heart is Civic Club that sponsors the Boy Scout training. That's 1940.
Forgot about that one. Exactly right.
One,
I told you the meeting was going to go long.
Some people think that the most important accomplishment is the founding of the incorporated town of Louisville.
Did I miss that on my list? Absolutely. These guys were essentially in our incorporation. How can I miss that? We wouldn't be standing here if I didn't do that. Very good. Thank you, folks, so much. for your many years of service and your continued service to our community. We would not be the community we are without your contributions, your efforts. Thank you so much. Very good. Gosh, that just makes my heart swell. Thank you all so much. Pam, you have our next presentation for us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First, I wanted to tell you just a little bit about the program. The program for the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting was established by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada in 1945, also in 1945. It was created to encourage and assist state and local governments to go beyond the minimum reporting requirements of generally accepted accounting principles. It requires that state and local governments prepare annual comprehensive financial reports that evidence the spirit of transparency and full disclosure. And it strives to recognize individual governments that succeed in achieving that goal. The goal of the program is not to assess the financial health of participating governments, but rather to ensure that users of their financial statements have the information they need to do so themselves. Reports that are submitted to the program are reviewed by selected members of the professional staff of the Government Finance Officers Association and the Special Review Committee. This committee includes individuals with expertise in public sector financial reporting, including financial statement preparers, independent auditors, academics, and other finance professionals. We did enter our annual comprehensive financial report into the program for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024, and I'm pleased to report that we have been awarded the certificate. Now, if I may, I'm going to read to you a letter that we received to the program, which actually presents the certificate. The Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada has awarded their Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to the town of Lewisville for its annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024. The report has been judged by an impartial panel to meet the high standards of the program, which includes demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story and to motivate potential users and user groups to read the report. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by government and its management. And this is the 20th year that we have received the certificate. And this is good work.
Thank you, Pam. The reason we receive this kind of recognition is standing right there at the podium. Clearly, she is the one that makes sure that we do things to the letter. She crosses our T's and dots our I's and makes sure that we follow all the required and accepted principles of accounting. And government accounting is a little different than private accounting. It's a lot more difficult. It's a lot more monitored. Pam, you've been with us how long?
9 years.
9 years. Very good. Thank you for all the great work you do.
Thank you.
PJ, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good week. Our stats for July: 746 total calls for service, 403 security checks, 29 traffic violations, 11 alarms, and 6.5 minute priority response time. You can see those numbers are up a little bit from last year: 621, 351, and then 36 on the traffic arrest, and 19 alarm calls this time last year. So not a lot to report. I did want to make mention that if you've come through town over the last yesterday or today, the school traffic, bear with us. So it's a kind of a touchy subject, but we're trying. We have tried something a little different this year, coming out of Lucy Lane in the mornings and in the afternoon, making everybody utilize a right turn only. Today, we actually finished up about 2 minutes before the tardy bell rang, so the principal was pleased with that. So we're taking this time to try to educate people. So if we can't have a car there, we have cones. It'll be much safer for everybody to make that right-hand turn. So just have a little bit of patience, and hopefully it'll get better as the year moves on. So,
Thank you, PJ. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to brag on Sergeant Stringer and to let people know how efficient he is. It may seem like a minor event, but you may have seen me walk Bernie around town sometimes, and I was walking him on a Saturday, and I called Sergeant Stringer. I said, Sergeant Stringer, I'm so sorry it's Saturday, but I'm walking in the back here by our trash cans, and there's something in one of them. Well, he said, I'll send a deputy out. And it wasn't 10 minutes before a deputy was out there, so I was able to see him, and I came back and I said, Deputy, what was that in there? And he said, well, it was a raccoon. He said, I just put some food out. And so I mentioned it to David, our maintenance manager and supervisor, and he said, oh, yeah, he's a regular. So what I didn't realize was that Rocky Raccoon has a key to the dumpster.
I think he was trying to coach you in to see if you'd come in there after him.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't going to do that. But anyway, you're wonderful with our town and all your deputies. So thank you even for the little things.
Thank you. We appreciate your support.
And for those of you who don't know, Bernie's her dog, not her husband.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, my husband's off the leash.
He's off the chain, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All righty, council members, any other comments before we move forward? Ladies and gentlemen, there will be 5 opportunities this evening to speak to the council. We welcome those opportunities. The first one will be a public forum, which is if you have anything on your mind that you'd like to share with the council, that's the time to do it. We ask that you hold your comments to 3 minutes and come up and state your name and address for the record. We also have 3 public hearings tonight. If you're here to speak on the public hearing for the acceptance of our Unified Development Ordinance, please hold your comments on that till we have that public hearing. If you're here to speak on the voluntary annexation for 5394 Williams Road, please hold your comments till we have that public hearing. And if you're here to speak for the rezoning of 5394 Williams Road, please hold your comments until we have that public hearing. And then finally, at the end of the meeting, there'll be another opportunity for anyone who wishes to come up and address the council. I do have a couple of people who have signed up already. First is Dan Frey. Dan Frey. Yeah, I've known you for 50 years. Dan Fry, spelled F-R-E-Y, so you can understand.
Yeah. He's right.
Just back from an Alaskan cruise.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Dan Fry, 165 Will Austin Court, right across the street here. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the Lewisville Historical Society. The Society's Archives Committee, which consists of Mary Kay Brown, Margaret Lee, Kathy Ewalt, Kay Vance, and myself. We are in possession of material kindly donated over the years by Lewisville townspeople. These items include family histories, newspapers, maps, and books related to the town and its people. Among our archived items is a nearly complete set of the old Lewisville Citizen newspapers that the mayor touched on, published and distributed monthly by the Lewisville Civic Club from 1948 to 1961. Aside from genealogical benefits such as birth, marriage, and death notices, the newspaper articles chronicled the post-World War II experiences of the town's citizens in the development of our town through the middle of the last century. Earlier this year, the Archives Committee gathered up a portion of these newspapers, dated August 1948 through January of 1956. We delivered them to Digital NC at UNC Chapel Hill for digitation. Additionally, we submitted a book entitled Kinfolk of Jacob Conrad, detailing the Conrad family tree. It was written in 1970 by Julia Harris O'Daniel and Linda Conrad Patton. We are pleased to report that the newspapers and the book have been digitized and are now available for viewing online on the digitalnc.org website. We will soon be making a return trip to Chapel Hill to deliver the remaining newspapers, along with 20 Lewisville High School yearbooks and the book Shower Ford Country from George Galloway. They'll be digitized. It is our hope that folks go onto digitalnc.org and view the papers. Whether part of a well-established Lewisville family or relatively new residents, these papers have something of interest for everyone. And I want to mention a quote here I saw when I was looking at that book tonight. One of the authors, Laura Conrad Patton, she says, "The idea of not reducing history to abstract names and dates, but making a lively account of people and places is their goal." So anyhow, like I said, Lewisville Civic Club did these newspapers, and we wound up with just about all of them. And so we have a bunch already available, being digitized, and we take the rest of the papers down probably within a couple of weeks or so. So we'll have the whole set there along with a lot of other stuff. So keep those donations coming. We'll try to take care of them for you.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
The key part of his presentation there was keep those donations coming. We've had a great partnership with the Lewisville Historical Society and the Nissen House Committee. If you haven't been back to the Nissen House, it's back on. It used to be sitting up here on Shallowford Road where the dentist office is now. And when that building was getting ready to go up, they were going to tear it down. And the Historical Society and the town of Lewisville got together and said, we really need to save, because this is an amazing, amazing piece of history for Lewisville. They've restored it, not inexpensively, because they just haven't put paint on it. They have actually restored it, I'm going to say historically, Dan, accurately to what it was back in its original day.
We believe so.
Yeah. And thanks for your and Susan's participation on that. It's a wonderful. I mean, what a great town we have when we have so many individuals who get involved and make a difference. Thank you guys very much.
You're welcome.
Matt Sin, please come up.
Good evening. My name is Matt Sin. My address is 631 Firetook Road. Thank you, council, mayor, and most of all citizens for allowing me a couple minutes to speak. First thing I want to say is born and raised in Forsyth County, been in public school K through 12. One of the things that we're stressed and maybe not stressed enough is civic engagement. So I'm so happy to see this room basically overflowing with people interested in our local government. Please don't take it for granted. There are bills in the NC House and Senate, if people aren't aware, that are trying to take away your local authority. For those of you who are about to speak during the public hearings, definitely contact your representatives and tell them that you want to keep the system the way it is. Second of all, I want to speak about the recent cut to the firefighters' benefits in Winston-Salem, since I don't get an opportunity to speak at their city council. We got to make sure as conservatives and people who put safety first that our firefighters, police, EMS, first responders, teachers are well taken care of so that they can serve the community happily and healthily. And third of all, as schools start again, I just want to make a point about something that people usually don't talk about. It's public school meal debt. It was over $60,000 this past year in Forsyth County. I pledged to do something about it, but I could only do a little over $10,000, which is a lot of money to me, but obviously not a lot of money to the Forsyth County School Board. So I want to remind people, if you can pay, please pay. If you can't pay, please take the few minutes to sign up for public assistance. And appreciate everybody for engaging in local political process and government. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. You're my hero. This is the kind of thing we talk about, is that one individual can make a huge difference. And thank you, Matt, for all you're doing. Matt brought up a point, and I'd like to, I'd just like to take a second and recognize those in the audience. We're past the filing period now, so I'm not going to get political. But those of you who have filed for office in Lewisville in this upcoming election. Would you just take a moment and stand up, please? Very good. Please give them Mr. Shanks' applause. Thank you all very much. You know, we sometimes take for granted how much time public servants put in. We don't call ourselves politicians. We call ourselves public servants because that's all of what we do every day. When we get up in the morning, we're thinking about Lewisville. When we go to bed at night, we're thinking about Lewisville. Every decision we make, we think about our residents and how we can help the town, how we can keep us moving in the direction of our comprehensive plan. So thank you all for your sacrifice that you're getting ready to make, and we wish all of you the best of luck. Anyone else wish to speak at this time? Mr. Franklin.
Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Fred Franklin. My address is 1420 Conrad Sawmill Road. I'll be brief in my remarks. I really wanted to speak to the fact of, or follow about the Certificate of Achievement, the Excellence in Financial Reporting. As was mentioned by Pam, this has been 20 years. She stated that she had been here 9 years. So it goes back to other financial officers before her and other town councils before this current council. With everything we see in the newspapers today and on local TV and all about financial problems with governmental agencies, it's good to know that past councils and current council recognizes that the fact that our books are audited by a firm that is contracted, those audits are forwarded to the I forget the actual name, but the government down in Raleigh, LGC, thank you, Local Government Commission. This is one additional step in the process, and that's the reason it's a certificate of achievement and outstanding work that is being done by the financial folks that the town has always tried to employ. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. I do want to call attention. You've been a big part of that because you first served on the council in '95. Very good. And if you look around the pictures, people in the pictures around the room, you'll see Fred's face pretty frequently, along with a number of other people here, Dr. Sadler, Ms. Welch, who have served ample time of their lives giving themselves to Lewisville. All right, anyone else wish to speak at our public forum? If not, I'm going to introduce Lynn. You have our presentation tonight on our Unified Development Ordinance.
Good evening, everyone. I'm not sure I can keep up with those good vibes. That's pretty great, because I'm here with our consultant from Kimley Horn to talk about a somewhat fairly dry issue, but a very important thing. I don't have an official presentation. It's Mr. Kelly Klepper, who is a representative of Kimley Horn, who has worked with us the last 2 years on developing the final product that you will be considering this evening. I will say, from a professional standpoint and a personal standpoint, I've been here for the last year and have worked on this UDO just about daily. And this is a watershed moment, I believe. This was a significant undertaking. It became a more significant undertaking than we thought it might be. It took longer than we thought it might. But we've worked out a lot of things, and I really believe we've come up with a unified development ordinance that fits the goals, the needs, and character of Lewisville. With that, I'll introduce Mr. Klepper and have him come up and present his information. He's got a good set of slides. I've looked them through, and I'll follow up after that with any questions, comments, or anything like that.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah.
There you are.
Welcome, Mr. Klepper. Good to see you.
It's good seeing you, Mayor. While we're getting this teed up. There we go. I do want to say I appreciate what we've been able to accomplish, and for the record, Kelly Klepper with Kimley Horn. Lynn, we've still got it on the rolling one. My apologies. Can everybody see the screen? while we're doing that, Mayor, if it's okay with you, like I said, for the record, Kelly Klepper with Kimley Horn and Associates, and I'm our team's project lead. I want to echo something that Lynn said just a minute ago, which is this has been it's been an interesting project. We started this project, and of course, we started with Stacy. We've been fortunate to transition from Stacy to Lynn. This is something that myself and my team have been working on for the course of this 2 years, and as Lynn said, it took a little longer than we thought. Some of it was because of storms. Some of it was because of legislative changes. Some of it was we had to kind of back up and punt on a couple of things based off of some of those legislative changes. And then more importantly was the opportunity to create a Lewisville-specific code. What you all have noticed, I know, Mayor, we had the opportunity to meet with you early on in this process, and the great thing about it was you had some great vision and ideas. And what we started to hear throughout some of our workshops and our meetings and talking with planning board members as well as members of this council was there's a true passion for this community. What we realized early on in the process was that the code that you had was Forsyth counties. And it didn't recognize and reflect the values and the character. And I use those terms, I don't take those terms lightly because it didn't represent this community. It's easy enough, and I will tell you, having done this for over 30 plus years, unlike the one gentleman who's 45 plus years, being in the Civic Club, which by the way, this is what makes small town America and America great, things like that. But more importantly, when we start looking at this code, we started looking at a lot of things, we started saying, what is Lewisville? What does Lewisville want to be? And we didn't want to say when you grow up, because it is what it is. It is Lewisville. We don't want to emulate Raleigh. We don't want to emulate Mooresville. We want to
Or
make
Clemens.
Sure, or Clemens. I was told I wasn't allowed to use that one.
I'm okay.
But what we did is, working through this, we started to identify changes and opportunities and items that were up for consideration. The great part of this discussion is, at the end of the day, as Lynn says, you have a brand-new Unified Development Ordinance. It's fairly thick, but it's very comprehensive. We looked at the uses. We looked at a number of items with respect to processes and procedures. We looked at how we actually calculate parking.
Thank you all for putting up with this. I do apologize. I think it's fine for the information in the PowerPoint to scroll that Kelly has put together because it's actually very detailed information and it's just to show the work that's been done. And if you were to go through topic by topic by topic, we'd be here 4 hours. So I think it's fine to have Kelly speak about all the things that we've done and this just be an example of scrolling through of the things that have happened. And I'll set that up.
But again, what we did is we walked through the town's plan. We looked at your comprehensive plan. We looked at the code that you had. We looked at the design and development standards. We looked at engineering standards. And as you can start to see through some of these items that we have identified on here, we took it up a notch. We said, what makes Lewisville special? We want to be able to also make sure that there is a clarity in the terms and the definitions and to ensure that as we're talking about growth and development, or more importantly, redevelopment and protecting what is in the core of this town, that those standards are very clear and that Lynn and more importantly, you all are not having to say, well, we think. So by doing little things like changing the format, creating these tables and creating graphics that visually illustrate the core components of what we're talking about, it creates a lot easier type of document to be able to look through and use. Now, yes, there are 600 pages. It's broken up into 4 sections. The 4 sections are basically the administration, how we do things, how we, who does what, whether it's this council, whether it's the planning board, or even staff. The second chapter, Chapter B, actually gets into our specific zoning districts, the uses that we're allowed to provide as part of that, and how those uses need to kind of work. We get into Chapter C. Chapter C tells us how much parking, how much signage, how certain things need to look from a buffering and other types of perspectives. And then lastly, the Chapter D is the engineering standards. So we looked at your stormwater, we looked at your traffic and transportation impact analysis, We looked at the grading and construction. We looked at tree preservation, all of which we had towards an eye with 160D, which of course is the general statutes that governs what we do from a land use and a zoning perspective here in the state of North Carolina. Again, kind of going through those standards and working with staff to say what fits, what works. Lynn and I did get into a lot of discussions and I'll say a lot of topics as far as what if. So we started testing the code as we were starting to develop it. We started talking about, well, this isn't really Lewisville, but how do we apply it? So then we started to refine. And so again, we would have bi-weekly meetings. We would have lots of, I'll call it almost like jam sessions in between, where we're going through individual portions of the code to identify and just literally, again, test it. Does this work? What are the potential ramifications? And then putting on our quote-unquote developer or, whatever hat to say, how can we start to kind of apply this, or can we? And what we came to at the end of the day was the document that we have here. And again, this isn't the end of the road for us. It's just the beginning of the journey. Something that we promised and collaborated with on Lynn, and we reassured him of this. And this is something that, Kimley Horn has had a great relationship with this town for a number of years. What we've also committed to is you're going to adopt this code tonight, and then it's going to be now what? So we're not leaving. We're here, and it's one of those things of Lynn has my phone number. Lynn knows how to connect with me. We've already set aside time over the next month, 2 months, 3 months to do a check-in and do how's the code working? What are we seeing that may need to be modified over the course of this project itself? What are we seeing that may come out separately or differently from the state legislature that affects what we're doing from the code perspective? We're not saying we're going to go in and rewrite it. We're just saying we're going to do the check-in. It's kind of like when you go to the doctor for your annual physical. And he says, okay, your heart's good, your eye's good, your cholesterol's a little high, so maybe we look at doing this. Same thing that we do after this code is adopted, is to ensure that the health of the code is good. And if not, what do we need to do to rectify some of those items? So again, that partnership that we provided is embedded in this project. At the end of the day, again, we are asking for your positive vote and acceptance of this code so that Lynn and the town staff can start utilizing this code even as late as tonight and start moving forward with implementing the vision that you established through your comprehensive plan and through the plans that have been established for those 80 plus years through the visions of the Civic Club itself. Lynn, I will ask if, is there any specific things that you wanted to identify as part of this?
I would just re-summarize that the ordinance we had been inherited from Forsyth County, was really about Winston-Salem and Forsyth County. And from 1994 to the present, it had just ended up being a patchwork that had been fixed. This is the first full comprehensive from page 1 to page whatever review and cleanup of the UDO. So I'm pretty proud of ourselves in getting this accomplished. And I want to thank the town council. As we were moving through this process, we got towards the end and, issues come up, a couple of things. We had ourselves a special meeting, we jammed it out, and we got some things fixed. I really appreciate that investment into this UDO on the time of the council and the town manager. And I'm really excited this is being adopted, especially with the fact that so many people are here who are fantastic representatives of Lewisville. It just feels right. Feels good. Any questions? Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so thank you guys. As you alluded to earlier, we did call a special meeting to discuss specifically at the council level some of the things. I saw as it was scrolling through some of the updated permitted uses, updated sign standards, tree preservation. Can you speak on those 3 items specifically about what were some of the larger changes or updates that were made in that area or in those 3 areas? I mean, just highlight.
I'll let Kelly begin. I might add a little.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So specifically with respect to the tree preservation, one, we needed to come into compliance with the state code. There are state prohibitions and limitations that the old code actually was in conflict with. So part of that was let's bring it up into compliance with that. It's not anything that the town or staff hasn't done. It's just things have changed over the last couple of years. And as Lynn said, things get band-aided. So one of the things is we did go in and we ensured that the tree preservation requirements were I say not only legally sound, but also protected more of what we value here in this community. So there's more, I'll say, teeth to the tree preservation as we are talking through development and pre-development. With respect to the signage, some of it was just simple cleanup as far as the definitions. Some of it was also, when you, like you saw some on those graphics, how do we measure the height of a sign? How do we measure the areas as far as how much of the sign face are we looking at? So part of that was clarification. Some of it was also clarification to understand exactly what counts as a sign, what doesn't. There's a lot of legislation that's out there, both at the state level as well as the federal level. Believe it or not, there's a case, and I hate to say this, but it's the Reed case. It's already 10 years old, and that's the one that gets into signage and what you can and cannot regulate from a federal stance. And that's, you can look at the type of sign, you can talk about the location, how big it is, but you can't differentiate between it's a school versus a church versus some of these other specific uses. So ensuring that those were very clear, both from a temporary signage as well as a permanent signage. And then more importantly, like I said, just adding those standards so it's very clear on how we calculate how much signage somebody can have within the community. And my apologies, what was the other item?
Third one was the updated permitted uses.
Permitted uses. So the other thing that we started looking at was the use table that you had, again, was very much Winston-Salem and Forsyth County. There were uses that they had identified and even looked at that you didn't have within this community, nor did you really want to have within this community. There's also changes that have occurred over the last 10, 20 years in some of these uses, so we needed to update and add some clarification to those to be able to reflect some of those things. One of them was, we talked about data centers. One of them, we talked about micro distilleries and breweries and things like that, and special types of events, all of which, again, are permitted per state law, but weren't necessarily addressed in your code. So ensuring that we had the right mix and match and where those are permitted within the town's zoning districts.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question, please. Thank you for your presentation, all the work that the company's put into it, and Lynn, excellent job. But I did want to ask, it has already been addressed, the state legislature can have a lot of powers over municipalities. And I actually was just looking for a number. For example, they could say our tree ordinance was no longer effective, and just several other things they could change that we don't have that control as a local township. Can you just give a number about how many possibilities are there that there's so many areas that we are in danger of losing control of?
Yes, because that's kind of a very broad, because I know, and Lynn can definitely opine on this one, there's not a specific, like there's 24 items, just because the way the language is written within the statute, to where it's more of some of the umbrella statements itself. But again, that's one of the reasons we did what we call a 160D compliance check. And as the legislature changed throughout this process, we went back and re-looked at items as well.
Ms. Jane, I'll add to that. The legislature in the past few years has become more and more involved in taking closer looks at what towns and cities might be doing. Usually what happens is a problem is created and there's a conflict in, say, Brunswick County, and those representatives take it to the state legislature. They want to make it state law. It happens all the time. Multiple individuals will bring in ideas and laws and propose a change to this part of the ordinance, change to that part of the rules, a change to this to 160D. And as recently as seen this year, we had a large proposal, one specifically that would affect statewide how towns can run their business. The talk on that one has quieted down, which I personally am grateful for. We did pass a resolution here against that bill. It's very difficult to say about a specific number, because little things pop up in the legislature all the time. But overall, I think this is a trend that is going to continue. We're going to continue seeing the legislature taking close looks at 160D and perhaps coming up with what might be sort of semi-revolutionary changes to deal with towns and cities. So we'll see.
So you would say it's more important than ever for citizens to speak up to our state representatives
Absolutely.
and just really literally say we don't want to lose control of our community.
Absolutely. If you're a resident here of Lewisville, call your representatives. Let them know that things that have been going on in the legislature threaten Lewisville's ability to manage its own affairs, just like every other town and city in North Carolina. And please let us do what we need to do the way we need to do it.
Thank you.
Lynn, is this going to be I would imagine it's going to be posted to Unicode?
It will be posted in a couple of ways, maybe even 3 ways. It'll be posted in Unicode. It takes a little while for that to happen. We will also be posting a interactive PDF on our planning website, the town planning website, that has clickable links from every single sub-chapter header, so it's really easy to search. And I'm going to talk to Kelly about a way that we can post one where you could simply talk to the mayor about this. And it might be through the PDF version. We're not sure yet. Let's say someone wants to know about, I don't know, any number of topics, a duplex. They can just type in the word duplex. It'll take them to all the places in the ordinance that address duplexes. We want to make it really easy and really user-friendly. There is also going to be a workflow summary and a user guide at the tail end of this that Kimley Horn is working on. We'll receive that. We'll also post that because the user guide will be sort of a condensed version of subject matter and to direct you more quickly to the portion of the UDO that should be helpful.
So you'll be able to update as changes are made.
Absolutely.
You'll be able to do that fairly quickly.
Within the hours, a couple of days, yeah.
Because I'll make a point to the crowd here. One of the huge issues, and first of all, I want to say, too, there are council members who are sitting here. This came up probably 20 years ago, the idea that there needed to be a new code because it was all done at first on paper. Joyce, whenever there was a change, would give every member of the planning board and every member of the council paper handouts put in your binder. And so you can imagine over time, some of those got lost, things in translation when we separated that out, but it was a lot of money that needed to be spent to be able to do something like this. And so it's not one of those things that's really flashy that people drive down the street and go, wow, that is a nice UDO. But as much as we depend on planning and zoning in this town, and as much I feel that it's, I'm sure many of you the same, it's led to help create the kind of town that we have now. And so I'm grateful for the fact that council finally had gotten to a point where they were willing to spend that money to engage services of these folks in to get this document done. So I think you'll find that things should run more smoothly, both for developers and individuals who run businesses, who build homes, those sorts of things. It's very, in the past, it was very complicated. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for your presentation, your time tonight.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. And I don't want to cover old ground or ground that you've already covered, Lynn, but this document is mostly written in plain language, except when official language is required, so that won't be so daunting for citizens who want to review it and understand it.
That is correct. That was one of the principal goals of this rewrite, was to turn the old language into simpler, more easily readable language where possible. There are places where the state sort of dictates how we have to say some things, but otherwise that was a principal thought throughout every section of the goal, the goals for every section as we went through. And I lost number. What we would do, I'll give you a little insight, is we would receive the PDF from Kimley Horn. That's the most current version. Well, then I'd get to work on it. And I'd go through the chapters, and I'd open up the comments pane, and I'd start making comments line by line. I did. Kelly can tell you. And over about 3 to 4 months, I returned to them literally thousands of comments to change this, to change that. Let's rework this.
On our quality comments?
Right. Say that. But just an example of how deeply we looked at making sure we write this thing in a way that's good for Lewisville and easy for people to understand.
Okay, and I think I heard Tom say this. Want to reemphasize it, not mistake what I think you said, but to say that it's designed to accomplish in a way that it accomplishes our town's goals. Would that be an accurate?
That is the other principal goal, that this ordinance reflects and enhances and puts into action the goals, needs, and intents identified in the comprehensive plan. When the new comprehensive plan was adopted in 2022, there became a big mismatch between the ordinance and that, because there was still so much old Forsyth County language. It's all been removed now, cleaned up, streamlined, and this ordinance now much better reflects the contents and goals, needs, and plans for the comprehensive plan, I do believe.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Quickly, two comments. There are two incredibly important documents that we have in Lewisville. One is our comprehensive plan. And the comprehensive plan, a number of people in this room participated in, and that's the goals, dreams, wishes, aspirations of our residents. What kind of community do they want to see? Then we take that comprehensive plan and we translate it into ordinances. And the UDO is that document that really allows us to realize the vision of the comprehensive plan. I do want to extend tremendous thanks to our planning board members. And I think we're probably in the second generation of planning board members who've been working on this. But it's a big job. It's 614 pages of everything that you want to know about Lewisville. Great work, guys. I was speaking with Lynn earlier today, and he came down, sat in the office. We were talking about some things, and I just said to him, I said, Lynn, this is a great project. And he teared up on me. And I'm not trying to embarrass him, but the pride and the ownership and the dedication and the caring that you put into this document, Lynn, is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much, and I'll give you tissues after the meeting.
Okay.
I think it was arduous.
There were
We went
tears of
two
joy.
planners and two managers.
That's right, 2 planners and 2 managers. It was a big deal. Very good.
Right, one of which is the session with her.
Yeah, you got out, thought it would be easier there, and you found out otherwise.
Council members, any other comments? All righty. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
All righty, folks. That was our staff presentation. We will now open the public hearing for the approval and receiving of the Town of Lewisville UDO rewrite. Is there anybody that wishes to speak either in opposition or in support of this document? Please come to the podium, state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Brady Allen, 2065 Glen Ferry Court, and I'll also make a comment that it's great to see a full room here tonight. The UDO, I just want to emphasize, because I feel that many of the people here, it might be the first time they have heard of what the UDO is. And I want to emphasize that it really is the governmental backbone of how we can continue to preserve our small town charm here in the town of Lewisville. And I know that I personally, as well as many of the residents, really value the small town charm that Lewisville has, and we want to continue to carry that forward for decades to come. And so this is really a great step to continue that preservation. So thank you to the council for your work on it, for allocating a large chunk of funds for Kimley Horn to be our contractor on that. Thank you for Stacy, and also to Lynn and to Kimley Horn for all of the work. And I just want to emphasize how important this is.
Thank you, Brady. In fact, Mr. Allen is one of those folks that asked for voluntary annexation into the town of Lewisville so he could be part of our town and participate in its future. Anybody else wish to speak? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and just really a privilege to be here tonight. And my name is Dr. Kevin Sharp, 975 Don Leah. Thank you. Every good team starts with a great playbook. In the work, like Tom said, there's nothing sexy about this. Fancy, he said. So I use the word sexy. But this playbook, the hard work that's been done by staff, by our consultants, by this board will be the playbook that town councils will use for years and years and years. Your efforts, this document will preserve Lewisville and help us develop the consistency, the charm, the beauty of Lewisville, and actually make it better. So thank you for your hard work. I just want to say thank you for that. And on behalf of the next 10 town councils, thank you for them too.
Thank you, Dr. Sharp. Anybody else wish to speak in support of or in opposition to? Yes, ma'am.
Susan, you know the routine.
Susan Fry, Will Austin Court in Lewisville. My real reason for getting up here is I figure if I get up here today and for each meeting until the end of the year, when many of you will be leaving me, I will manage to get another 15 minutes of fame in 3 minutes at a time. So you'll be hearing from me. No, seriously, I want to talk about the UDO, and I think it's wonderful. I've gone through the old one, and I've used it for many of the different things that have come before the town. And looking at the new one, and I've played around with it a bit, it's much less cumbersome. It's very, in my opinion, easier to navigate, and I think that's really important because as a citizen of the town, and I want to check something, and I don't want people to be afraid to just try to dive in there and find what you're looking for. I find this much, much easier to negotiate. And also, I did want to thank the planning board, who were so tremendous, and the hours that went in to this is you know, I don't even know how many hours to work. The response from the town staff, Lynn, anytime I had a question or a suggestion, they were open to discussion. They were very responsive, and I think it's just a wonderful document that we're going to be using for a long time, and I am totally in favor of accepting it. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan, for those of you who don't know, is our legislative watchdog. And she watches the legislation that's being proposed, even when it's dropped into bills in the dead of night, hoping to slip something through without our notice. And Susan, thank you for doing that, because you have caught a lot of those changes coming out of the legislature that would have decimated our planning and zoning. So thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak? In favor of or in opposition to? I see no one. In that case, we will close the public hearing. Council members, it's in our court.
Motion to approve ordinance 2025-021. Let me put my glasses on. Amend UDO.
Second. Ms. Hunt makes the motion. Mr. Hoffman. All right. You've only been here 2 years. I am sorry. Mr. Huffman makes the second. Any discussion?
No, I think this is the first document where I was part of the planning board when it started and part of the elected body to vote on the back side of it. So it's been a great journey.
That it's.
No other comments?
I do have just a
Yes, ma'am.
reminder to council that there are some things that we had discussed at our special call meeting, and I just want to make note that we continue to bird dog those items that we pulled out and make text amendments as we need to this document. So thank you.
Anyone else? No other comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. And again, congratulations to everyone. Very good. Lynn, we're pulling you up again because you're going to give us a presentation on the proposed annexation for 5394 Williams Road.
I'm back. You can't get rid of me this evening. Just one comment. I can't tell you how good it feels to have that motion and the second on this. I'm going to get a little teary again. This has been a huge project, and to bring it to this point is a big deal. So thank you for all of that. What we're looking at tonight are actually two ordinances, two public hearings. The presentation that I'm giving sort of covers both at the same time, but I just want to make sure that we announce that at the beginning so that people understand. We've been moving back and forth through these slides. The annexation and the rezoning are both intertwined. So I'll keep it simple about the annexation. We received a request from the property owners for annexation into the corporate limits of the town of Lewisville. According to state statute, any property owner within 3 miles of any municipality, city, or town can request voluntary annexation for any reason at any time into the town limits as what's called a satellite annexation. And that's what this is. We received the initial request last fall, and then there was some time spent working on other things, and then the applicants came back and submitted their application a little bit earlier this year, so we got moving on this. State statute, when it comes to annexation, is sparse. It does not state that a town must take into consideration any real issues related to what happen if we do or if we don't annex, a town. It's very, very sparse, very simple. It's very open. It's simply a matter of, does the governing body agree that it's a good idea to annex this property or not? Similar to the rezoning portion, where you're going from 2 general use districts for Forsyth County to 2 general use districts, Lewisville. You have to look at all the uses in each. You can't really pick and choose the ones that might have a different effect because of the way state statutes work. So that's the sort of basic annexation part of my presentation. And if you have any questions about that, I'll be happy to that, and then I'll sort of move on here to the rezoning and how that's involved.
Lynn, will it be better maybe to hold off on the rezoning and let's just deal with the bite of the annexation first?
We can certainly do that.
Let's do that. That way,
Okay.
that way for simple minds like mine, we keep it straight.
Nah, that's all right. I'll leave this map up.
Very good. All righty, council members, any questions for Lynn?
Yes, just to be clear, is what I just heard you say is the zoning from county to town, if it were to occur, is essentially the same. The uses are essentially the same.
Yes, and I'll provide a little more information as we get to it. If any town annexes a piece of property, the state requires that within 60 days that town apply the zoning districts that it prefers to have there. So that's why we sort of run it concurrently, which is fine. And the districts that they're changing, Yadkin River Conservation, Forsyth County, and Agricultural, Forsyth County. Those 2 will be changing to Yadkin River Conservation, Lewisville, and Agricultural, Lewisville. And the 2 zoning districts and uses allowed are maybe with a little couple other, almost identical, but they're very similar. So when you think about what might be allowed as a use on the property, it's pretty much the same. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, you said the uses are pretty much the same. Is
they
that
are.
what I heard?
They are. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So this particular property is fairly close proximity to the Yadkin River.
It is.
Based off of what we're seeing here on the aerial map, can you show us where that's at, the proximity of the Yadkin River is? Can you kind of, is it on the north or?
It's to the, if you're looking at the screen?
To the left.
Look at the screen, it's to the left.
Right. Okay.
So if I were to zoom this out some, you would see the river really close by. The Yadkin River Conservation Zoning District essentially extends from the riverbank, Stacey, correct me if I'm wrong, 2,000 to 3,000 feet landward, all the way down through Forsyth County, and that's the district. So this one lies, about the back third of this property lies within that conservation district, which is that certain thousand number of feet from the edge of the river.
And I kind of knew where that boundary was, but this was just for the general public.
Sure.
So when it comes to this particular annexation, how will that protect kind of the stewardship of that particular river? Is that because we're going to keep it this, if it's approved, then that particular, as Dr. Seller just alluded to, it's going to continue kind of with the way that it is with the current zoning. How no significant environmental impacts or changes or anything like that you're seeing going from one zoning to another. I know we're going to get to the zoning piece, but
Yeah, absolutely not. No, and actually, with our new UDO, we have cleaner, simpler, and the most modern, up-to-date watershed management standards from the state model ordinance. So we got the good stuff to take care of the property.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Very good. Thank you, Lynn. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing on the annexation of 5394 Williams Road. Those of you who wish to speak, we have some folks signed up to speak. What I'd like to do is, rather than take the speakers in the order of the way they've signed up, I'd like to take it first for, if there's anybody in the audience that is a proponent of this, I'd like to allow you to speak first. And those of you who are in opposition, and I'm assuming, I don't know if the, it's going to be a little tricky, but if you will, thank you for signing up, but if you'll hold your comments, if you're a proponent, please speak first. If you're in opposition, we'd ask you to speak secondly, okay? Is there anyone here who would like to speak in support of? Yes, sir.
I'll try to be brief, guys. Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, community. My name's Joshua Shore. I'm one of the owners of West Bend Bar and Venue. I'd first like to start off by saying thank you for getting us on the docket. It was a little longer process on our end than expected and taking the proposal under consideration. There seems to be a little misunderstanding between parts of the community regarding our annexation. We're a full-time restaurant. We're not only seeking to be annexed to serve mixed drinks at our establishment, which has already been done at other locations in Lewisville, but to hope to become more involved with the local community itself. We have ample parking, food, and beverage, and enough space to help host larger events for the community that I'm sure most of you attend at Lewisville Square periodically. We currently have many family-friendly days once a month, free to the public, with activities including bounce houses, water slides, face painting, many other activities that are free of charge. We also have some of your local favorites play at our venue, like Camel City Yacht Club that play at Lewisville Town Square as well. We currently I have a 4-year-old nonverbal special needs son, and we currently have a special needs specific day and 5K plan in the works for the end of the year. The other 3 bars in the community that currently serve liquor by the drink, 2 of them are located on Williams Road. I understand the concern of patrons drinking and driving, and that is something that should never be taken lightly. We have certified and experienced wait staff who do not overserve our guests. We just would love to provide a space not only to provide food and live music, but a place for the community to gather and make memories together and try to do more stuff with you guys in the future. And that's all I got. Thank you for your time.
Very good. We may call you back again if we should have any questions. Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Mr. Thompson.
Steve Thompson, 737 Lewisville Clemens Road. I don't have a dog in this fight, but at the end of the road is the Lewisville Fire Department. On down the road is Old Nick Williams Distillery, which has already been accepted into the town, so I don't see why there'd be a problem with this. My opinion.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Speaking in support of. Anyone else wishing to speak in support of? Yes, sir.
John Thomas, 6205 DeForest Court. In 2017, I worked for a small drinkware manufacturer as a sales rep. One of the things that we specialized in was drinkware for bars and vineyards. And one of the businesses that we sold to was West Bend Vineyard and Winery. And I remember when Butch and Sonia owned the facility and the campus, and we enjoyed chicken parmesan and lovely bands and just great music and a great atmosphere. I'm happy to see that some new owners have taken it over and are trying their best to make it a valuable part of our community. I want to speak in favor of them. I voiced support for this campus and for this business And I just want for the council to keep in mind all the potential that this property has and what a great asset it will be for our town. So please annex this property and let it be a part of Lewisville and its history. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak in support? If not, is there anyone here wishing to speak in opposition? Please come forward. Obviously state your name, and I see some folks coming forward, and I'm assuming that you have an order in which you wish to speak.
Yes, Your Honor, we do. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, good evening. Thank you. My name is Linda Bierman. I live at 5011 Hidden Lake Trail.
So your last name again was?
Bierman.
Bierman, thank you.
Bierman. 5011 Hidden Lake Trail, just off of Williams Road, down the road from West Bend. I live there with my husband. We moved out here more than 30 years ago. And when we moved from Winston-Salem, we moved for all the reasons that people come to the country, for the beauty, the serenity, the wonderful neighbors, and for the safety. We raised our 2 children out here back in the early 90s when we moved out. Of course, they were preteens. The atmosphere out here was, young children going to school together, riding bicycles, walking to their friends' houses, just playing. They're all grown and gone now, of course. And these days, what we enjoy is a new generation of young families coming to the neighborhood for all the same reasons that we did: the beauty, the serenity, the wonderful neighbors, and the safety. I walk Williams Road regularly. I've done so for years. I tell myself it's for the exercise, but I know in my heart that it's because I love walking along our beautiful country roads and our former vineyards, and reflecting and connecting, chatting with neighbors who are out doing the same thing, waving to cyclists who are out actually getting some exercise. We've loved living out here. So what's changed over those last 30 years or so? Well, the vineyards have become venues, and Williams Road and Shallowford Roads are the only way for people living outside of our neighborhood to access those venues. And what we've seen is that they have indeed accessed those venues in greater and greater numbers. And what we've also seen is Williams Road becoming more and more unsafe. As a walker, I can attest that even in daytime, walking Williams Road is an activity that is fraught with jumping out of the way, sometimes feeling like you have to cower against the hedges to avoid cars, trucks, SUVs, heedlessly speeding along Williams Road, sometimes racing and chasing after each other with nothing and no one to make them slow down. And what we fear with this annexation and rezoning is the potential for yet another venue serving hard liquor, inviting people from outside the area, using Williams and Shallowford roads, winding country roads that they're not familiar with, after they've perhaps been drinking in the dark. What we're afraid of is the potential for tragic consequences for our neighbors, our friends, their children, families destroyed by people who have been drinking and driving on our roads. The potential for tragedy exists. Please, let's not add to it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Carlin Hinchliff, 518.
Sorry, can you say it just a little louder, please?
Yes. My name is Carlin Hinchliff, 5185 Williams Road. I would like to offer my perspective on this matter as a young driver. I would first like to point out the limited visibility and reaction time present on both Williams and Shallowford Road. There are winding roads with limited visibility as is, and adding liquor into the mixture is just another added element of danger. Secondly, I want to mention that we share these roads with new and or inexperienced drivers like myself and soon to be my brother. These roads are dangerous enough as is. I've been tailgated, illegally passed, and witnessed reckless driving. This is dangerous for a myriad of reasons, but poses an imminent threat to drivers on our roads. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, excuse me, Matt Hinchliff, 5185 Williams Road.
I'm sorry, your last name again, please?
Hinchliff.
Thank you.
Same as the young lady before me.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us this time to speak. It's been a while. It's been since the Conrad Road, the Save Conrad Road experience that we all had, the development there. My wife and I moved our family here in 2009 for the same reason that Ms. Bierman stated. We wanted the country. We're on Conrad Road. It was quiet. It was peaceful. It was very nice. The luster of that, the charm of it, disappeared. It's very busy there, and it has everything to do with development. We left Conrad Road. We moved to Williams Road for the charm, for the solitude, for the sunsets, for the peace and quiet. It is what Conrad Road used to be. It's not in the town of Lewisville. With the annexation here, the town of Lewisville is going to follow us. We're going to lose all the charm. We're going to have the increased traffic. Not only is it going to come on Shallowford and Williams, it'll be coming from 421, Yadkinville Road. There'll be just a myriad of problems caused because of this. Ms. Hunt spoke about the Yadkin River and the watershed. Know that if there were a larger aerial map of this, you would be able to see the conservatory. And we're all familiar with the conservatory, correct? The conservatory is the left margin there. So what we'd want to do with annexation is put a venue serving more alcoholic beverages right next to the conservatory. So how is that going to bode with that? And I don't know that we have anybody here from the conservatory, from the state-owned property, putting this next to them. And the other thing is with the, congratulations on that, by the way, Lynn, the UDO. Very good, very good. With that, how is that going to play into all this? Are they going to be made to adhere to the new ordinance? Don't know. This has all just been sprung upon us. And I think, the real 800-pound gorilla is, are they going to get annexed so that they can serve liquor by the drink? And we're all not in favor of that. So the gentleman that was in support of it, he has face painting, bands, all this. It's all going fine for him. What's liquor by the glass going to do to increase it, to make it more fun, to bring more people? I don't know. With annexation, I don't think that would be good. Butch and Sonia were the ones that developed that property and incendiary across from there. They did all that without annexation, with the zoning that we have. It was all in place. They were successful with it. So as soon as you bring their here, our here becomes there. And I don't think I want that. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Carl Cooper, and I'm not in favor of the rezoning because I know the rezoning is also leading to I'm not in favor of the annexation because it leads to the rezoning, and that's selling alcohol by the drink. But there's not a person in this room, not one, not a person in here that at some point, especially if you use the computer, that hasn't been approached by somebody trying to deceive them with some kind of a flim-flam scheme. That happens everywhere. You are approached on your cell phone. You are approached on your computer by these flim-flam artists and tricksters. And they'll swindle you with deception. And they'll trick you into either spending your money, or they will trick you into supporting something that you don't agree with. And if we're not careful, that'll happen here with this rezoning. Suppose I wanted to sell alcohol in a residential neighborhood. Now, how would I do that? How could I get permission to sell alcohol in a residential neighborhood? Well, here's how you do it. You trick everybody. You buy some property, and you call it a farm. And you go in there and you plant a few grapevines. And then you put up a sign that says you're a vineyard. And then you put all these props out there, barrels, wooden barrels. And you make it look like you put some signs up on your buildings that say winery. And the next thing you know, it looks like you have a winery. And so you are allowed to put this bar and sell wine in a residential neighborhood. Now, we got one on Shalford Road out here. It's right across the road from a Baptist church. And it's selling wine by the glass. Now, I went out there myself, and I drove down there. I invite you to do this. I went out there, and I drove my go-kart, my gator, down in the so-called vineyard. And let me tell you something. They don't have enough grapevines to make enough wine for one family, let alone sell it to somebody. Now, here you are. If you're not careful, you're going to be deceived with a great deception, you know? You've got the appearance of a farm, you've got the appearance of a winery, but all you got is a business. It's a business selling alcohol, and if you can call it and you can get it designated as a farm, you can put it right across the road from a Baptist church. Now, this is a deception, and it's deceitful. We don't need more alcohol sold in Lewisville in a residential neighborhood. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
My name is Gray Wilson. I'm not an educated man. I'm a lawyer. I live in Winston-Salem. I have lived in Lewisville about 20 years ago, and I got to know the character of this town very well, and I cherish those memories. I wanted to tell you, first of all, that there is a petition that has been prepared, and someone here has that petition and is ready to present it. And if you'll...
You go up to the clerk and she'll present it to us. Thank you.
And if you'll indulge me, Mayor, I was going to ask everyone in this room who is opposed to the pending annexation petition, if you just stand very briefly. If I may continue, North Carolina municipalities have denied annexation petitions, when the sole purpose is to circumvent local liquor laws. That's pretty clear. So where the petitioner simply wants a license for that purpose, if you Google it, it's interesting, when you Google that issue, you find the first thing that pops up is an article from the UNC School of Government here in North Carolina, where it expresses the opinion that annexation must serve a broader public interest, and that petitions that are driven by narrow commercial motives, like obtaining a liquor license, ought to be rejected. I saw in the July 10, 2025 minutes of the town, to the credit of the mayor, that he had a question about that very thing. And the attorney here, Mr. Fuss, whom I know pretty well, was so conscientious he wrote down that he was going to, he stated that he would research. So it is an interesting issue to confront. I'm not here to tell you about a potential lawsuit. I have looked around the country to see if I can find any legal authority in that regard. What is clear about annexation law is that it is a misuse of municipal authority to entertain such a petition for private commercial gain. Towns, cities that annex properties just to enable liquor sales are encouraging other businesses to do likewise. for narrow, self-serving reasons, which undermines the very integrity of our entire zoning and annexation process. And as public officers, I think we always need to keep that in mind. Allowing this petition, you know, I don't know if it would get anybody on the front page of local papers in this county, but it would not be in a good way, in my view. You've heard from these local citizens in the county, and you've seen their petition now to deny this petition for a lot of other reasons dear to their pastoral, their bucolic community. Allowing this petition, you know, again, is going to raise the specter of everything that comes with liquor, with noise, traffic, underage drinking, all of which can alter the character of one of the most beautiful neighborhoods in this county. I've been out there. I know where this homeowner association is located, contiguous to the petitioner in this case. Granted, there's already some alcohol available outside the city limits, but that's a result, I think, of the operations you heard about earlier, wineries, distillery operations. But beer and wine, as you know, contain a lot less alcohol than liquor, and you've got walkers. If they didn't mention it, you've got a lot of bikers out on Shallowford Road and even Williams Road. Walkers, you've heard our first speaker talk to you about that. And you've got drivers along portions of Shallowford Road and Williams Road. And there's currently little, with respect to the deputy who spoke here for the county, who I believe provides the service out there, little in the way of law enforcement. I don't know that you'll have a speed or a drunk trap out there looking for people that are inebriated if you allow this petition. It's only going to take one fatality, to just be blunt about it, to bring home the message here that this petition is not a good idea. I mean, the question is, you know, what will it take to make people see the folly of this poor use of town resources? I think Lewisville, and especially Forsyth County, deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Corey Pendergrass. I'm a resident at 5525 Williams Road, which is at the top right corner of that. I come out my driveway and I can look at this property in question. Their driveway is 800 feet from mine, and I am worried as a dad. And I come to you again to plead that you would vote nay to this. I have 5 children. We have petitioned our neighbors all over the Williams and Shallowford Road, and people that would be affected by this directly. We have, most of your copies will have 110 signatures on it. 2 ladies came to me tonight and wanted to add theirs to one of them, so one of the local council members has 112 signatures. And a few of the more thoughtful comments were that I agree completely. Shallowford is tricky when one is sober, deadly otherwise. Please let us be good stewards of the beautiful town that we call home and protect the community. We strongly feel that this annex could have a negative impact on our small Lewisville community. Please keep Lewisville quaint in the desirable end of town that has a reputation of being. No reason to add liquor license for the continued success of the small business. Wine and beer are plenty. Several other people commented. I'll say this. The gentleman who spoke before me mentioned this. Beer contains about 3 to 7% alcohol. Wine, a little bit higher at 11 to 14%. Liquor is from 40 to 50% alcohol. It takes about 4 to 5 beers to get someone drunk to 0.08% blood alcohol level. You can do that in about half the time, 1 to 2 drinks of liquor, and accomplish the same results, so that you cannot drive. I cannot guarantee that anyone will drive recklessly as a result of voting yay, and you cannot guarantee that they won't by voting nay, by voting yay. It is a risk. It is a gamble. is a bell that is about to be rung if you vote yay. And I ask you not to ring that bell. You cannot unring it. I dare say that the owners of West Bend Bar have done a valiant effort of trying to make it family friendly, but I've lived there for 3 years. In that time, I've seen 3 different tenants take ownership of a business in that spot. The owners of the land live in Florida. Who's to say that this business will survive, but the annexation will? Who knows what the next people will want to do with it? We can't know. But I want to turn your attention to these 5 faces that I presented you with. These are my children. In the top left, you'll see Fisher. He's holding a pine cone. He gets his license in September, 800 feet away. In the middle top is Elise. She's with me tonight. She is so precious to me. And she'll get her permit next spring, just in time for the warm season. River, my younger son, is one of the smartest young men I know. Ella has the most beautiful sound in the world. She's here as well. Her giggle is the highlight of my day. And Jubilee is my youngest, and she has never known a stranger. She is a joy to be around, as her name suggests. You cannot unring this bell, so please don't do it tonight.
Thank you.
Evening. My name's Amanda Fitzgerald. My address is 3850 Williams Road. I've lived there for 23 years. We're between the Disher Farms and Norma Jean Harbin's farm. I want to make 2 points. One is that we have had 2 crashes at the end of our driveway with sober drivers. One crashed into a tree. Another crashed into a statue that we have at the end of that road, allowing mixed drinks to be served and drivers to be driving back and forth on that road. I can guarantee you we're going to have a crash at the end of our driveway. As someone else pointed out, there are bicyclists all up and down Williams Road. There is no shoulder whatsoever. I can guarantee you we're going to have somebody hit a bicyclist at some point here. The other point I want to make is to address a comment made by one of the owners where he said that his servers are competent and that they know when to cut patrons off. I have visited that venue, and I would beg to differ that it is well managed. We were there on an evening where there were inadequate bathrooms for patrons and where folks waited for over 2 hours for their meals and had to, lots of people upset. The gentleman over there actually got up and scolded his patrons for being abusive to his staff after folks waited for over 2 hours for their food. For those reasons, I would ask that you vote against annexation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christy Ponjakan. My address is
Christy, I'm sorry, what was your last name?
Ponjakan,
Thank you.
5115 River West Road. My home is actually located in the picture to the right. That's where I live, across from from West Bend. My daughter, who is 15 years old, has written a letter. She's not able to be here today. I will say I drove from Maryland this morning, leaving my family. I could have stayed, but I felt it so important to be here this evening. I drove 10 hours to do this for my daughter, for my family, and for our community. I will say before I read this letter, one of the things that I've not heard about the beautiful town of Lewisville, I've heard so many wonderful things about Lewisville. What I have not heard is that we all would enjoy or appreciate or would find something family-friendly that would be like public inebriation. That doesn't sound like that goes together. Family-friendly and becoming inebriated. It's not a good example for our children, I feel, and it also doesn't provide safety for our children in these types of environments. But I will read this letter from my daughter. She writes, "Dear friends of Lewisville, I'm writing to you today to ask that you do not support the annexation of West Bend. The beverages they could serve under county law will influence wilder and noisier behaviors from their customers. These said behaviors have the power to become a nuisance or even a danger to our community. If West Bend should be allowed to annex from Lewisville laws, other businesses may follow, causing potential harm to our economy." This is just my 15-year-old. Okay. She doesn't know all the details, but she's wanting her voice to be heard. "Even if they are permitted to separate themselves from our regulations, their property is still situated in Lewisville. This means both the choices of this venue and the actions of their customers directly affect the residents of Lewisville. The annexation of West Bend is more likely to disrupt our community than it is to benefit it. For 5 years now, my family and I have lived in Lewisville. Our home is the first residence on River West Road, meaning a side of our home faces West Bend, as you see in this image. My bedroom window happens to be on that side, directly across from their lot. Even with a few trees creating a slight sound barrier between my bedroom and the West Bend, the noise of their establishment goes late into the night, making it hard for me to sleep. I sleep with a sound machine on, and when necessary, even earbuds, but these do not prevent the disturbance from keeping me awake. At 15, she says, my developing body and intense study throughout the day, which she does, requires plenty of sound rest. However, I can feel the bass and the percussion from the live music at West Bend pounding in my chest as I lie in bed, which does not create a serene atmosphere for resting. The yelling of their customers, as well as the inappropriate, not to mention immoral music, really is not safe for my mental well-being, and she struggles with several mental disorders. As it is, can you imagine how much worse it could be with inebriated customers? As it is impossible for people to make wise choices when consuming alcoholic beverages, I am scared that a weapon in the hands of one of West Bend's customers may become a danger to our community. It is hard to keep our residents safe when Lewisville cannot intervene because West Bend has annexed from Lewisville law. We have put certain restrictions in place for very good reasons. Also, if their customers drive while intoxicated, what if a crash occurs in my neighborhood or even in my side yard? The wilder behaviors of customers who purchase the beverages allowed under county law have the potential to disturb the peace of Lewisville in quite a few ways. Thank you for hearing my concerns regarding the annexation of West Bend. Your friend, Faith Ponjakin. I will say that I did have to call a little while ago, and I have nothing ill to say about the owners of West Bend, but I will say I did have to call. It's probably a few months back, because the words of the songs were so vulgar and so loud that my daughter was asking me, is there no way you can do anything? So I did call, and they said, well, they had rented out the facility, so those people who rented the facility can do what they want to do. They can play the music that they want to play. They, up until I guess it's about 11 o'clock at night. And so our hands are really tied even just in that. I can't do probably much about sound ordinances here tonight, but they heard my request. They, let me know that that's not, when it's rented out, someone's paying for this, they can do whatever they want basically. But just the words of the songs and how loud it is, it really truly is a great disturbance to our family. So thank you for hearing me and for hearing my daughter this evening.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Martha Wishon, and I live at 4110 Williams Road. And please forgive my rather strange attire. Nobody in their right mind would wear opaque pantyhose, except that I've been in a dog show all afternoon. I am the third generation of family farmers, and I'm still farming that land along with my husband, Tom McDonald. I don't know if any of you came from family farms or not, but I'm intent on trying to protect mine. This is, from what I understand, by the general statutes of North Carolina, a satellite annexation. a request for a satellite annexation. And by some accounts, that particular piece of property is 3.8 miles from the closest contiguous current Lewisville city limit. That's a long way. Legacy 2030 designates that that part of the county is agricultural and Yadkin River conservation. I appeal to you that we're trying to preserve a way of life out there. And if you have ridden down Williams Road anytime recently, there is still quite a bit of farming going on in that area in particular. I appeal to you that your decision is not about a few property tax dollars. It's about preserving a way of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Brenda Smith. I live at 4525 Williams Road, and my sister lives at the end in front of the fire department. We have one question. Before you even think about doing this, we want to know how you're going to police the drunk drivers, because believe me, they're everywhere out there. We see them all the time, and I think anybody that lives out towards there knows that. How are you going to police the drunk drivers? That's what we want to know.
Is that your statement?
That's my statement.
Thank you.
Waiting on your answer.
Yes, sir. Do you wish to speak, sir? Yes, sir. Come on.
My name is Hugh McBride. I live at 8575 Shallowford Road, less than a mile from the property. And my question is actually for deputies. Since the incorporation or annexation of Old Nick's Distillery, have there been any increase on Williams Road, because that was brought up during that discussion, in traffic violations, DWI, accidents, etc.? I know I'm asking you to reach back in your head, but is there any obvious increase on Williams Road near the distillery that y'all have noticed?
I've actually pulled some numbers, and I'll share that for you.
Okay. The other thing is, for the town, I understand what the gentleman, the lawyer, was saying, and I would agree wholeheartedly. If the town of Lewisville was looking to annex that for the town's benefit solely, then I'm against it. I don't think the town is getting rich off of Old Nick's Distillery, but yet you didn't do it for that purpose. You did it for the people of Lewisville and surrounding communities, even the city of Winston, that come out there and enjoy the property. I venture the same thing here. You will receive enough tax money to cover the services you provide for it. But you're not going to get rich off of it. But for the people who do attend it, and as several people said, there are some decent crowds there. And that's people, local people, people from across the river, other places, coming to enjoy it. And the last thing I will ask, maybe you have something on that, if we talk about the traffic, I want there to be any traffic studies done, because I really don't think Metaloni, West Bend, or Old Nick's is really the traffic increase that we're seeing. The traffic, I grew up there. I've been here my entire life. I grew up in West Bend. And I can promise you, when I was in the 60s, when I was a kid, I could sit under a shade tree for an hour and never even see a car go by. Now you can't sit there 1 minute. But it's all the developments that's been added, like Ms. Wishon was talking about, I grew up when it was all farmland.
Chief, if you'll speak to us, that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
Because we're losing some of your voice.
I grew up when it was all farmland and there was no traffic. There may be a slight bit of traffic going in and out of that, but they're locals anyway. So I'm just curious what the sheriff has to say about traffic and also about what he's found from the incorporation or annexation of Old Nicks.
Thanks, Chief. Good to see you. Anyone else wish to speak? Mr. Franklin.
Again, my name is Fred Franklin. I reside at 1420 Conrad Sawmill Road. I really don't have a dog in the fight, as it was expressed earlier by Mr. Thompson. What I will say is that this town and this council, or not this particular council, but councils through the years, has never turned down a voluntary annexation request for any reason. Whether it be somebody trying to preserve the landscaping business because the county has allowed development around them, and it's not, they currently were not in the town, and they were afraid that the newly allowed development that the county commissioners laid on them would affect their particular business. There's been, as Mr. Allen mentioned this earlier, he was recently annexed in on a voluntary annexation. Mr. Schumach, that was here earlier with the Civics Club, he was voluntarily annexed on Reynolds Road for voluntary annexation. There's been cow pastures that have been voluntarily annexed in the past so that residents could have streets repaired because it would be contiguous to the town. My point here is, again, that there has never been a request for voluntary annexation that has ever been turned down. I don't think it's the council's place to worry about what might go in that annexation. You're not changing the actual zoning in your next item of business because you're moving it from county jurisdiction to town's jurisdiction. The request from the petitioner is simply to be voluntarily annexed. Now, what all that might bring, yes, that's very much open. That's what people have been expressing, their concerns. But the bottom line point that you need to look at is that if this council turns it down, you will be setting a precedent. The laws of North Carolina do not allow cities, towns, and municipalities to involuntarily annex anymore. The only way this town will ever grow in the future is voluntarily annexation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? I see nobody's moving. Yes, ma'am, please come up.
My name is Becky Holt. I live at 5555 Williams Road. I'm catty corner to where West Bend is. This is the first meeting I have ever attended, and y'all pride yourselves on your town, Lewisville, here. I've been a resident of Lewisville for over 30 years. For you to allow them to be annexed.
Ms. Holt?
Yes.
If I could ask you to pause just for a minute.
Yes.
If you would just take a breath and consider how the tone that you're speaking to the council, I think it would be.
How about if I move my mic back? Is that better?
I think it's more the tone than it is please go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's because we love Lewisville.
We all do.
And we don't want that. Well, y'all were going to show it, whether you do or not. All these people are concerned citizens of Lewisville. And you say you care about the people of Lewisville. And that this is a great place in a little town. Well, when you change and vote to annex them and let liquor laws take effect, you're not showing you love this little town anymore. And I truly believe that.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? All righty, I see nobody. With that, we'll close the public hearing. I've had 3 requests from council members who've nodded to me that we probably should just take a short break for obvious reasons. So we'll recess for, 5 minutes? Very good. Please, folks, the restrooms are right out here. I think you'll find all of us in there. Thank you. All righty, we're back out of recess. Council members, we've concluded the public hearing. We're at the point now where it's open for council discussion, questions. And again, I remind us that we can ask petitioners or anybody in the audience who either spoke or is in support or not support. We can ask them questions specifically if we have something they may have said that we want some questions about. So, who wants to be up?
I'll start this. All right. So I think first of all, I want to thank those that took the time to come this evening and those that took the time to get up and speak, especially those that are in our youth. So thank you guys specifically for coming up. Did I take that off your list of things to say, Tom? But I want to just really thank you for your courage of standing up and being courageous and voicing your thoughts regarding our community. There was some comments made throughout this evening regarding law enforcement data and safety data. And I'm going to ask, is PJ back in the room yet? There he is. I'm going to ask PJ, do you have any recent local data regarding alcohol-related incidents or amongst similar establishments? What can you give us on that?
What I have got from our crime analyst, but dates back, she ran a 2-year crystal report from January of 2023 present. And I asked her to get anything alcohol related within a 1 mile radius.
I'm sorry, can y'all hear me now? Okay. So from January 2023 until present, our crime analyst ran a report, and I asked for anything alcohol related to be included in that report. And I have that data. And I'm going to use some verbiage here, and I'll explain that. So on this report, it was a 1 mile radius from the address on Williams Road.
And PJ, let me just clarify. Okay. This is incendiary had been open at this point, and Old Nick's had been open at this point?
Yeah, this is just whatever the address is on Williams Road. I asked her to do 1 mile from there. And she sent back, and it's 1050. And when I say 1050, that's our code for motor vehicle crash, okay? Property damages were 5 reported to that. Now, Highway Patrol may have a little different, but this is actually FCSO, Forsyth County Sheriff's Office response to that, okay? As you know, we don't investigate wrecks. Clemens has 2 traffic units that investigate motor vehicle crashes, but we do not. We respond out, make sure the scene is secure, assist with Highway Patrol, whether that be traffic or medical needs or whatever, but that's the extent of what the Sheriff's Office is involved here in Lewisville. So there was 5 of those. 1050s with injuries, that means personal injury. There was 2 of those. 1050 with rescue, 2 of those, and a 1054, which that means it's a hit and run where somebody had left. There was 3 of those, and then there was an assist motorist call for one of those, a careless and reckless driving. 1 of those was reported, and then 3 violation of auto laws, which means there was a traffic stop or, and resulted in a ticket, verbal warning, or a warning ticket. So that's the only thing that, that was provided to me when I asked for her to run the report.
Thank you. So since 2023, less than 20 total, is that what you calculated?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about any type of enforcement plan would there be any different avenues that you guys would take in a situation where you have 20 or less at a given, since 2023?
Well, I'm not sure if I know what, or is there a targeted plan for
Yeah.
like DWI
Correct, yeah.
checkpoints?
If annexed, would there be any change in what you guys are currently doing for the town of Louisville?
No.
Okay.
No, not at this point. There's a lot of strategic planning that goes into some of these check-in stations that's actually hosted or put on.
Okay, thank you.
Can you just elaborate a little bit? I'm not familiar with what 1050s are.
So that is motor vehicle crashes. That's our 10 code for a wreck. It's just called 1050. We use 10 codes, but it's a motor vehicle crash. So basically you had 5 property damage wrecks. So example of that, if somebody was actually hit a deer, that would be considered a property damage wreck. If somebody hit a deer and resulted in them getting hurt, that would be recorded as a personal injury wreck. Now, that's how we report it through the sheriff's office. I can't speak on behalf of Highway Patrol reporting or what their statistics look like, because I don't have that in front of me.
I have one follow-up. As far as precedent is concerned, have there been any documented safety concerns since the opening of Old Nick that you're aware of?
What do you mean, safety concerns?
These things because 2023, so that covers Old Nick.
Other than your typical loud music or general complaints, not any that stand out that I'm aware of.
Okay. And the current noise violation protocol for that is 11 p.m.?
Yeah, we get those randomly. I mean, we get those through neighborhoods just as easy as we get them. They're spread out through town.
I think that's all, PJ. Thank you very much for me.
I just had one question I can think of at the moment. Our noise ordinance, is that a 10 p.m. ordinance?
The noise ordinance is really kind of a gray area, but it's typically enforced. It piggybacks along with Forsyth County's ordinance. So it's 11 p.m. to like 6 a.m. Now, if you read the statute, any nuisance or anything that's considered a nuisance could be enforceable. But, typically in those situations, you'll be referred to the magistrate's office, but for a general rule of thumb, after 11 o'clock.
I was thinking that the events at the town square, aren't they limited to 10 o'clock?
That may be something that Lewisville has said in their regulations, so, yeah. So the policy may be a little different from actually what the actual ordinance for the county is.
Okay.
PJ, I don't mean to seem too redundant, but I am curious. You mentioned those motor vehicle accidents. You didn't mention this, so I'm going to guess it's not true, but I want to ask for clarification. Have any of those revolve or involve alcohol of any sort?
I don't have that statistic because if they would have, Highway Patrol would more likely handle that because we have an understanding with Highway Patrol. If we respond out and Highway Patrol has a wreck, Highway Patrol takes that impaired driver, and they're responsible for not only the investigation of the motor vehicle crash, but also the arrest of the impaired driver. So, thank you.
For the individual who submitted the petition, why are there no addresses associated with that petition?
Yes, sir.
I didn't think to ask for addresses, and I don't think that the service online that I used asked for addresses. I can tell you that the only people that were asked to sign that petition were from Hoosier Road, Shallowford Road from Hoosier to Williams, and from Williams all the way back to Hoosier Road. That triangle of people only have been asked to sign this petition.
Okay, thanks. When we did our first satellite annexation, what's the neighborhood off of the old Yadkinville?
Yeah,
Satsgate. Satsgate has to be about as far as this one.
Yep.
And we had a certificate of sufficiency for this, is that right? And that took into consideration the relationship to the border, is that also right?
Yes, sir, we did.
And someone stated that, someone implied that it was outside the limit that.
Dr. Sadler, I have a photo from our GIS that
Say it again
demonstrates.
for me.
I have a photo from our GIS that demonstrates that the property is not located. Let me find my photo. Here it is. Using our GIS, I used the measurement tool, which is quite accurate. From the point of the last contiguous property in Lewisville to this property is 2.5 miles.
Okay, because the statement implied a violation of the state statute, that it was 3.8
That's incorrect.
miles.
That's incorrect.
But that's not accurate, is
No,
that,
sir.
is that right? Okay.
I just wanted to say a point that was made about the county, something that's changed in recent times that, for me, is of particular interest. We've always worked with the county on planning and zoning and on what the master plan would be, especially in regard to the river valley. And YR was something that residents along their property owners voluntarily entered into that with the county back when the county was setting up their zoning for the UDO. Not that long ago, the county took what used to be the Blumenthal Jewish home in Clemens, and with opposition from virtually everyone I can think of that is in that area, they rezoned that for a massive multi-use project, townhomes, homes, all kinds of things. And I could sit here and go through a list of other things where we've worked with the county and their consistency has been less than desirable in a number of cases. So for me, and I think even for the folks that live out there, we've never, as far as I know, violated the concept behind preserving the zoning in that part of the county and respecting the fact that we understand that the Yadkin River is there. I fear more for property that lies west of us that falls into the hands of the county, particularly if that land ever falls in the hands of the county and there's sewer available. So I think, number one, that's something that's important to us and it's important to the character. Number two, we did a study, gosh, it must be 15 years ago now. There's sort of an illusion of a rural atmosphere around. But if you take all of the land that's within that, say, 3-mile boundary around us, that's undeveloped, and you just take the land that belongs in LLCs that's out there, if everyone built on that property tomorrow at existing density, which would be their right to do so, we would be a town of thousands. Thousands. I mean, when you figure properties, one individual owns over 600 acres, that would be over 600 homes at existing density. So, to the gentleman that pointed out that traffic, I live on Williams Road at the very edge of Lewisville. And exactly right, more and more traffic, but the majority of that is related to rooftops. And they're absolutely correct, too. It will be important for us, for the county, to work. We need the DOT to start being more proactive on especially now with the state owning a sizable piece of acreage that's now going to be, it's conservatory. But we all know that those roads are gonna only grow as developments are built, as homes are built, rooftops go out there. Robin Hood Road's gonna be the same. Lewisville Vienna Road's already there. And I mean, the list goes on. So in those respects, I think Lewisville is a better steward than the county. Granted, in my experience, by far. As far as the other concerns go, they're valid. I mean, you don't know what the future might hold. But I think to Mr. Franklin's point, we never know when we zone things, when we annex things. We don't have a crystal ball. Now, if they were to obtain a liquor license and they're violating the law, my understanding is their liquor license could be revoked. Once somebody's issued a liquor license, my understanding is that does not entitle them to serve whatever they want to serve at whatever quantity they want to serve and to put whatever sort of mayhem into the community they want to. So that license would have to be applied for, it would have to be granted, and then if they're not following the law, and officers could, verify that. I don't know to what degree they're familiar with liquor licenses, but I also think that that's something that is a consideration as well. So I think that's everything I had, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else?
One that came
more,
up,
okay.
one more, I think. So if, and this may be for Stacy, if the property is annexed, the property would then be subject to all town ordinances in the town of Lewisville, is that correct? As it relates to any type of signage and lighting and?
Yes, ma'am.
Noise.
Noise, well, the county runs the noise right now, yeah. But yes, Jane, that, any special event permitting requirements?
First off, let me say thank you to all of you who have taken time to be here tonight. Somebody made the point earlier that we have an obligation to our residents, and yeah, we do. But just for my own edification, with those of you in the audience who, other than, well, for those in the audience who are not residents of Lewisville, raise your hand. Not residents. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, within our town boundaries where we have an opportunity to do things.
So if you're in the county, don't raise your hand, is that correct?
No, if you are in the county, please raise your hand. If you are not a resident of the town of Lewisville.
That's not what you said.
Okay, thank you. We wrestle probably first and foremost with growth. And we hear over and over again, we've got to maintain the density because that controls growth. Mr. Lawson brought up a point that unfortunately so much of the land outside of Lewisville is in the county's purview. And the county is allowing significantly denser development than the town of Lewisville is. My concern by Lewisville not being able to overlay our planning and zoning into those areas is theoretically, not theoretically, I can give you several examples, Conrad Farm being one of them. That piece of property could be developed, basically a home on every quarter acre. Now, somebody said sewer availability. Well, sewer availability used to be a primary issue, but now we have very modern package treatment plants that they can handle subdivisions and developments. So I absolutely sympathize and understand what you're saying, but by not annexing this property, we don't achieve what we really want to achieve, and that's to be able to manage growth. That, to me, is going to be the number one issue that we have to face. Everybody that comes from the outside of Lewisville comes down through Shalford, they come through Grapevine, they come through Lewisville, Vienna, they come down Robin Hood. And all of those folks filter right into downtown. Well, that's fine, except it places a tremendous burden on our infrastructure, on our road maintenance, on our law enforcement, and all of those other things that we try to keep our hands around to be able to maintain the kind of small town feeling that we have. A number of you talked about the increase in particular traffic accidents or drunk driving if this occurs. PJ, I'm not sure that, and I want to be clear that I understand this, the information that you presented did not seem to indicate that since incendiary opened, that there has been a significant increase in those kinds of arrests or incidences.
Not according to the numbers that I have, Mayor.
Okay. And that's the same thing is true with Old Nick's, right?
I'm sorry.
That's the same thing is true with Old Nick's?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We allowed you to participate during the public hearing. Thank you very much. And this is our opportunity to respond, if that's okay. So I do have a question for the petitioner, though. If you'll come up for a second, please, because I do want to get a little better clarification. if you will share more, I mean, you've heard the concerns expressed tonight, and I think they're valid concerns. As a council, we have to weigh the positives and the negatives of everything that we do. First and foremost, our obligation is to the residents of Lewisville. But nonetheless, we should be concerned about, we should be concerned about residents who aren't, folks who aren't residents of Lewisville as well. That's compassion that we try to show. If you can describe a lot more in detail the kinds of events that you have out there now, and why you, I mean, obviously you want to have an annex into a municipality so you'll be able to serve mixed drinks. What happens in the future with the types of activities you'll have out there?
Okay, well, as I initially said earlier, we currently do a lot of family-oriented events, at least once a month, that are free. I rent bounce houses, used to pay $2,000 a weekend just to provide something for the community out of my own pocket. Don't charge anything for anybody to come. I said, I've got a special needs kid. Me and my wife own 2 assisted living facilities and have 120 mentally handicapped residents we take care of for 10 years now. One in Winston and one in Tabor City up by the beach. But we just plan to continue to do stuff and provide events for free to the community. We've had Camel City out there for free. It's not just to get liquor, it's to be more involved with the community and you guys. We have a ton of space out there. We're trying to host some 5K charity events. I have a huge individual St. Jude sponsor that's actually here today that's hosting some events for me in the upcoming next 6 and 7 months that we're working on putting together. It's just a lot to do. Like I said, the concern is there. I agree 100%. It's very valid. I'm there every hour of operation. You can ask anybody here that's ever been. I mow and keep up the place all by myself. I do care, want the place to look nice and not trashed, and people out there destroying and being menaces all over the road. Our goal is to have a good time, obviously, provide good food, but a space for the community, but in a safely manner as well. I understand all their concerns, but I do agree. Somebody wants a liquor drink, that they'll just walk across the street and get one at the end of the day, or drive down the road.
When we entertain the voluntary annex. By the way, all you folks are welcome to ask for a voluntary annexation into Lewisville if you wish. But the concern that I have about, we had about Old Nick's was noise, and that was the primary complaint by the neighbors. And I think that's a valid complaint, because if you have kids or you live nearby, loud bands can interrupt your lifestyle. I'd like you to talk a little more about what you plan or what you would plan. And this is one of those things that we are on tape and we are recording minutes.
Yes, sir.
And we have our deputies right here. But what you plan on doing in terms of events that might create noise nuisances?
Okay. So currently we have live music Thursday to Sunday. It's usually indoors, weather dependent, or on our deck from 6 to 9. Occasionally when we have a larger band coming in, for example, Camel City or somebody, that's the largest band we have out there. They usually play 7 to 10, sometimes a little later due to setup taking a long time and, just having make sure people are parked safely and getting in and out, helping everybody get around. But for larger stuff, we just, sorry. I'm not going to talk in front of a bunch of people.
Okay, take your time.
What was it? Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, the concern expressed about noise being a nuisance.
Yeah.
I think I understood you say that bands would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 6 to 9.
Correct. That's currently what the way it is now. Sunday afternoons, we play from 2 to 5. Sometimes Saturday, it's during the day. I'm not even opposed to having stuff earlier in the day. I know Incendiary usually has their larger music events from 4 to 7 or 5 to 8. I'm definitely not opposed to doing that. We're just trying to have a environment for the community to come enjoy music like you guys do for the town. I think it's great. You'll have some great bands out there. We've had 4 of them at our place the past 2 years. So I know you guys love going there. We'd love the support at our place as well. I'm definitely open to moving the times back so it's not later on and disturb when people are trying to sleep and things of that matter.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Another individual mentioned earlier about private events. Can you describe some of what those events are? If they are again, ending at that 10 o'clock time that you mentioned that your bands do, what those kind of requirements are for private rentals?
So we sometimes have corporate business meetings or Christmas parties. I've had, I think, maybe 3 last year or so. I never rent the place out or have a DJ per se past 11 o'clock due to the noise ordinance. I'm not trying to, I know people are paying for a place, but I still try to abide best I can. I've only had, like I said, 3 last year. 1 had a DJ, but I'm not doing anything illegal or breaking any laws other than someone renting my space from me.
Sir, what procedures do you have in place in the event that somebody that's renting it does go over time? What kind of procedures do you have in place to mitigate that?
Like I said, I'm there full time. I haven't ran into the issue yet. I'm not saying it's impossible or not going to happen. I have a contract with anybody. I know that only goes as far as a piece of paper, but I haven't had any crazy, outlandish crowds. It's always just been business owners having a Christmas party for their employees, mostly at the end of the day.
Okay.
No large birthday bashes or anything out of the way.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Allow me to ask
Yes, sir.
one question while we have your time.
Sir.
What do you do to supplement, you were talking about trying to get people in parked safely and ingress and egress, that kind of thing. Do you hire security people? Do you hire traffic people to do traffic control?
I do. I have actually people that are at the gate. I have 2 separate rows of entry, so everybody ain't just going in at one spot with roped off. And then I have 4 people that handle parking when we have larger events. One just standing there pointing to the other guy, flashlight, waving, whichever, then down to the other guy. And I do that until 3/4 of the event's over, because then most people aren't coming in at all. But yes, we do have proper parking per se. Yes, sir.
Somebody had mentioned restroom facilities too. Do you expand those if you have a larger event, for example?
I will have porta johns on the property. Yes, sir, for the larger events. Like I said, Camel City's our larger event. We did run into an issue food service wise. We had an issue in our kitchen. It's not their problem, but that was an issue, and we had 3 porta johns, but maybe we needed 7 or 8. It's all stuff I've learned along the way. I've owned the property for 2 years, and one thing I'd like to add is I am the owner of the property. The people that live in Florida are my in-laws. They are here in town now. They were supposed to come tonight, but they had an emergency. But anyway, they have property here, property there, but I'm the one who actually owns and runs the restaurant itself. But yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
When you had the challenge with the food service, is that an ongoing thing, or is that something that was just?
No, that was just due towards capacity. I wasn't
Yeah, I'm
prepared.
Was it a one-time event, or was it something that's happened repeatedly over time?
Oh, no, that was just a one-time event. Just we were underprepared, honestly, and we had a fryer go out, and I didn't have anything to compensate for that at the time. So I had to get a friend to bring his food truck up there just so I could use it for the time being to keep up. So that's been, problem's been fixed, so.
A couple of the neighbors have implied that you're a bad neighbor because, you create a nuisance with noise. Is there, how do you respond to that? What do you think?
Like I said, we've had loud music there before, but it's not a continuing thing. Like I said, we have 2 large band. We have a band Saturday. They're not as large as Camel City, but Camel City is loud. Obviously, they have large speakers they bring out there. But other than that, most of our stuff is solo, local artists just trying to make a living, or a little duo or trio band, but no gigantic speakers out there blaring for the whole town to hear. Not saying it's never happened, but Camel City, you guys know they are a little louder. But other than that, I don't see a noise nuisance ever have been a problem out there.
Thank you for answering these questions.
Yes, ma'am.
One lady who spoke for her daughter said that there was one band, it was extremely foul language.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would be happy to speak with her because I wouldn't have him back, but I've never had we just have a lot of country and old country music played there. 99% of the time we might have some rock or whatever occasionally, but I'm not sure what vulgar she's referring to, honestly.
Good.
And you mentioned you were there 24/7 more or less, but you and your wife have 2 nursing homes.
That's correct. My wife, My father-in-law actually was the first person to build assisted living facilities in North Carolina. He built Clemens Village 1 and 2, the one we currently own, and he had about 13. But she's been there for 11 years. We've been married for 9. I help her run that during the day, and then I go to my establishment because we're only open from 5 to 10 o'clock usually. Sometimes Saturdays we'll open during the day to do the kids' day events or if we've got a birthday party or something going on. But any other time I'm there or at home with my son.
So how many employees do you have?
At my restaurant, that we have like 8 employees. Same people I've had since the day I've opened. Never hired a new employee.
And that's how many years?
2 years.
2 years, thank you.
Since we bought the property like 2 years ago, yesterday I believe it was.
A couple questions. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your time again this evening. I've got 2 questions. One is in regards to partnerships. Do you have any current partnerships with rideshare or shuttle services to reduce any kind of impaired driving? And if you don't, is that something you would be willing to implement?
Definitely open to implementing something of that. There is at times it is hard to get Ubers out this way. I live right across the river, 5 miles from West Bend, near Forbush Elementary. I even have a hard time from Winston getting Uber to Yadkin County. So I do see that being a issue not just there, but Lewisville in general. I'm not sure why. It gets worse the farther you go up the mountain. But I'm not opposed to offering some sort of service. I mean, I know most people are aware you can order an Uber. People do, but I don't know if they're that readily available. But most people are there until 10 o'clock. We're not there till 2 in the morning. So.
And then my second question is, earlier I spoke about the Yadkin, obviously the river and just its close proximity to or on the property. Do you have any plans to store that particular part, that part of the parcel, to engage or to what are your plans with that?
I'm not sure of what the state actually has planned. I've heard they were just going to put in some bathrooms and walking trails back there or horse riding trail or something. I haven't heard anything more. Our property, there's a huge field between the river and our property, and there's already a trail back there, like a walking trail that's been there for ages. I don't plan on doing anything back there. I have too many other things going on, honestly, to try to negate doing a project or anything. I mean, if we may have some sort of entrance where they can walk on from state land because it literally backs up against it. But no plans to do anything else back there.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
PJ, can you talk a little bit about how ALS fits into this whole picture? Because if they do have to get permits through ALS or ABC or whoever that is. PJ, that guy.
Okay.
ALE, sorry.
Alcohol law enforcement. People have to apply for those permits. That's all maintained and regulated, not by the sheriff's office. So if we see an increase of impaired driving coming out of there and we can link them back to establishment, that would be something that we notify ALE, and they go in because they have the resources to go in and actually investigate that with over-serving. So those establishments, whether it be here or in the city, they're scattered out. Those alcohol law enforcement officers are scattered throughout the state to investigate over-serving or anything like that. So same way they go into the smoke shops or the vape shops, they do the same thing with whether it be bars or if you have a convenience store that's selling to underage kids. All that is handled by different authorities.
Mr. Gray, one quick question for you. You said something that really made my ears perk up, and that was a mention of a lawsuit. Can you elaborate on that, please?
You were asking me?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Mr. Wilson, thank you. I've known you as Gray all these years, yeah.
Yes.
Come on up to the microphone if you would.
After I had a little chat with your town attorney, I went ahead and did an AI Google search, Copilot, to see if there was a case anywhere in the country that had actually adjudicated whether or not you could allow annexation for the sole purpose of providing a liquor license to the petitioner. And I could not, what I found was a wealth of information all around the country by all sorts of authorities about what a poor practice it was to engage in that. And what struck me more than anything was when I did the 50-state search, the first thing that popped up was that UNC School of Government article in that regard, and it was quite compelling. And I shared with you, all the reasons that they indicated why that was certainly a poor practice, a poor use of the resources of a town like this to engage in that practice.
But I want to clarify. We would not necessarily, the reason, I can't speak for the rest of the council members, but my interest in this particular piece of property is controlling growth. It has nothing to do with alcoholic beverages, it has nothing to do with anything. I'm sure these folks would probably be just as upset if somebody went in there with a 80 lot subdivision. And so growth to me is the reason that we're considering this. It's something that is going to be, our next council is going to have to deal with it, the council after that is going to have to deal with it. But growth is our biggest enemy in Lewisville right now.
Well, that may be the case until you allow a petition like this. Then you will have a greater enemy.
Mayor, I do have one more question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shore, real quick, you mentioned earlier, and you can say you don't know or you're unaware of what I'm mentioning. It's not going to bother me at all.
Sir.
You mentioned that your staff are certified in what they do. Isn't any in your staff Serve Safe alcohol certified?
Correct. Yes, they are, and myself as well. And then my kitchen staff are Serve Safe as well.
How many are Serve Safe alcohol specifically?
I have two full-time, them and me. Me and one lady, we work every day together, and then another one just fills in when needed.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
One other thing, what's the capacity of your facility?
I do not know off the top of my head, sir.
Well, do you have a restriction by virtue of the fire marshal or anything like that?
I do. I have it up there. I don't have it off the top of my head. I can get that for you, though. That's not a problem.
Elliot, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Got a question for you. And
Certainly, Mayor.
And again, I'm focusing in on the legal issue here. Mr. Wilson seemed to indicate that there would be grounds, regardless of our stated reason for doing this annexation, that we potentially could incur a lawsuit. And again, you haven't done the research on this, so this is a tough question for you. And I'll be glad if you can't answer it. Not glad, but I'll understand if you can't. Where does the town stand in a situation like this? We obviously, after our experience with somebody who wanted to build something downtown and we didn't let him and we had to pay out $1.8 million, we're very sensitive to how we might be sued. What is, I'm going to try to phrase this in a way you can answer it. What is the likelihood that a plaintiff would prevail in something like this if our motivation was to annex because of growth and density issues?
Well, first, let me mention, Mayor, that if council wanted advice confidentially in an attorney-client privilege conversation, we could go into closed session for that. But not hearing a call for a closed session, I will go ahead and give you my initial thoughts on that. I am not seeing any serious risk of legal exposure if the council wishes to annex. I think the council has great discretion as to annexing or not annexing. I know Mr. Wilson, he's a very well-respected lawyer, and if there are actual legal authorities that said you couldn't annex because somebody might get a liquor permit, he would bring that to our attention, I feel sure. I've not checked AI myself to see what AI says, but I am not seeing anything that would prohibit the annexation. There's yet another issue about if anybody felt aggrieved about it, whether they would have standing to bring any lawsuit if they were not a resident of the town limits or an owner of the proposed annex property. The council has certainly extended the welcome to hear from everyone tonight. But in terms of who would have legal standing to be heard on this issue, I think that would be people who live in the town limits or the property owner who wishes to be annexed.
Yes, and just as a follow-on to that then, Mayor made reference to a previous case that we dealt with, and it seems to me that part of that was, or dealt with, a question about whether we were violating an ordinance or not, whether we were in compliance with one of our town ordinances in reaching the conclusion that was ultimately reached. And there are no ordinances here, as far as I can tell, that would prohibit this, are there? Yeah, yes.
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing any legal authorities that would prohibit this annexation. Essentially, there are statutes that address the process for what is called a non-contiguous annexation here. And there are certain very specific nitty-gritty things that the application itself has to have the right information in it. The proposed annexed property has to be within 3 miles, and the clerk has already given you the certificate of sufficiency that the basics have been complied with. Under the statutes, you may annex if basically you have a valid petition in front of you, which the clerk said, yeah, it looks like a valid petition. And the only other particular consideration that the statute says to look to is the public health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of the city, meaning the people who live within the town limits, and of the area proposed for annexation. So if you find that essentially there are public health, safety, and welfare reasons why the applicant and/or the residents of the town limits as is would benefit from this, I think that is within your discretion to say yes, as it would be in your discretion to say no.
Thank you. Part of what I recall during that other episode that the mayor referenced is that the council or the town was being accused of being arbitrary and capricious in the way that it reached its decision. And in this instance, I don't think that either could be argued. I don't know where this is going, but I certainly don't believe that the decision, whatever it is either arbitrary or capricious.
Anything else?
No, I think we're being, to the point Mr. Franklin made, as far as why we would do it, we've never turned down an annexation. We've had them when there was forced annexation, they didn't want to be part of Winston. We've had people annex because they liked our PRD ordinances better than the counties. We've had people annex because, in the case of Old Nick's, They had a business that they thought would benefit. But the consistent point is, anyone who's approached us and wanted to become a part of the town, I'm not aware of a single situation where we ever turned them down. And it's been for varieties of reasons why they've petitioned us to come into town. A multitude of them. So I agree with what Ken is saying. I think if anything, we've been wholly consistent in that regard when it comes to annexation.
I guess just one last thought. I know a lot of concern was expressed about increased traffic on Williams Road, that cars and other vehicles. I know what has happened out Robin Hood and Yadkinville Road with the development of Conrad Farms, and we have seen a huge explosion of traffic. Things that we're really having to wrestle with, and they're basically out of our control. I keep going back again. I truly understand what you're saying, and I hear you. But our biggest concern right now is that piece of property is going to be developed. If it's going to be developed, I want it to be developed under the planning and zoning and unified development ordinances of Lewisville. That's for your protection, but it's also for our protection. Council members, any other comments?
No, sir.
Alrighty. So we'll entertain a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Just one last point I wanted to make for the record, and I should have done this earlier, and I apologize. The actual identification of the parcel. This is a good place to end this discussion and begin the next one. Just for the record, this tax parcel ID is 5885-449745, located at 5394 Williams Road. I should have mentioned that in the beginning, but I guess I was a little emotional about my UDO stuff. But I wanted that on the record.
Lynn, can you come back up and verify? I see at the very last bullet point that the planning board did vote unanimously. Is that correct? Can you just state that for the record, please?
Yes, the planning board at its regularly scheduled meeting on July 9th, 2025, voted unanimously to recommend approval of the rezoning of the property.
Okay, thank you.
The planning board will not be involved in the annexation portion.
Council, anything else?
And Lynn, did the planning board, as is normally the case, have a public hearing regarding this matter?
Yes, sir. The required public hearing was conducted.
And everyone who wished to present before the planning board had an opportunity to do that?
No one did, but the opportunity was there. The public.
No one did, is that what you said?
No,
Okay.
not for the rezoning.
Council members, what's your pleasure?
Move to approve ordinance 2025-022 to extend the town of Lewisville corporate limits to include 5394 Williams Road.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Is there additional discussion? All
I
those-
think I would just like to say, I think we have to address that first, separate from anything else, whether or not the petition to join our town will be granted or not, and then take separately.
Yeah, we're doing-
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We're
that's
doing it
separate.
separately.
Call to question.
Question's been called. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. All righty. We'll pause just for a minute because it does look like folks are going to be leaving. Very good. For the record, Madam Clerk, I did not explain that Mr. Long was excused from tonight's meeting because he is taking his daughter to college. So we need to make sure that's part of the record. All righty. Lynn, you have the next item, which is the rezoning.
Good evening again. So I'll use this as my first slide to introduce the rezoning that accompanies the annexation request. The request involves rezoning this parcel, which is dually zoned, Forsyth County Agricultural and Forsyth County Yadkin River Conservation, to Lewisville Agricultural and Lewisville Yadkin River Conservation. So they're twin districts in every way. Again, this is concurrent with the request for the annexation of the property of the town limits. I have stated now where it is. This would be a general use rezoning. So as is always the case with general use rezonings, you must consider all of the uses in each of the zoning districts and compare them before coming to your decision. Here's just a location map. It is about 2.5 miles outside of the town limits. Again, here's a map demonstrating that on GIS measurement. The built-in county coloring for zoning districts isn't the best on this slide, but as you can see, the YR portion is that back 25%, and the rest on the frontage is zoned for agricultural. And just the aerial again. GS 160D202G requires municipalities to rezone annexed properties within 60 days. Lewisville and Forsyth County standards for the agricultural and Yadkin River conservation districts on each side are very similar, if not identical. According to the Lewisville Comprehensive Plan, these properties are located most closely to the rural residential place type. Since they're not located within the city limits, the closest place type area defined by the comp plan is rural residential. Again, general use rezoning requires determination that considers all uses. Staff recommends approval, finds this consistent with the comprehensive plan and reasonable, as does the planning board, as mentioned. They voted unanimously on July 9th. So there you go.
Very good. Any questions for Lynn?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Do me a favor. Can you go back, Lynn, to
Sure.
the YR, one more.
Sure.
Now go to the satellite. If you can. Okay. I just had to get my bearings because it wasn't overlaid.
Okay.
Is there any, the YR, is there any restriction there that nothing can be built? I mean, I don't remember that being the case. If you can explain a little bit more of the YR zoning.
Sure. The YR Conservation District is meant for very low density development, agricultural uses, open lands, and preservation. The density limitations, let's say, for housing development is 1 dwelling per 3 acres, the minimum lot size. So, sort of reflecting what the mayor was talking about, if a development were to be proposed out here, our zoning ordinance would only allow that sort of density versus kind of what's happening with Winston-Salem, Forsyth County. And that corresponds with the fact that this is as close to our rural residential place type, which also calls for the same thing, very low to very low density development.
Thank you, sir.
To help.
And can you confirm if that minimum lot size is 3 acres?
I'm sorry?
Is the minimum lot size 3 acres?
The minimum lot size is 3 acres in the YR district,
Okay.
yes.
The YR.
In the YR?
In YR.
Mhm.
In ag, I believe it's 40,000, if not an acre, I believe 40,000.
Thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
Any other questions for Lynn? My understanding, Lynn, is that this is not a conditional rezoning request, that the council can't require the petitioner to undertake anything. Actually, we can't require the petitioner to do anything.
That is correct. This is a general use rezoning request. It was applied for as such. Thus, the council may not entertain, impose, or consider any conditions upon the approval. The simple formula is looking at all the uses in the YR district, looking at all the uses in the ag district as Forsyth County has them, and then as Lewisville has them. Is it suitable with the comprehensive plan? Does it correspond? And is it generally reasonable? Those are the considerations to take, according to statute.
Yes, sir.
So future improvements, renovations, additions would go through the normal permitting process?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, they would.
If I recall correctly, Conrad Farm, and Tom, you'll probably remember this better than I will. Conrad Farm was actually rezoned by the county and not by us. Ivan shaking his head.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It was, you talking about the first time or the second time?
No, not, yeah, I mean, we obviously had to change the zoning
Yeah, yeah.
when they came in, but
Right.
initially, and I think, and again, the concern I have on this is if it stays in the county, then the county can actually do what they did with Conrad Farm, which is drop the density, or increase the density based on really whatever they want to do.
I don't understand all of the, of course, Winston Salem for South County Comprehensive Plan and zoning rules, but I do know that their understanding of, the Lewisville understanding of low-density rural development seems to be different than what we're seeing with Conrad Farm. I'll put it that way. There are some schools of thought on compact, dense development in rural areas, as long as large amounts of open space are left over, that's a positive thing, and that might be sort of what they're based on, but that's just me venturing a guess. I shouldn't even go there.
Tends to consider RS9 low density.
RS9 is what they do.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about it.
That's their official position.
Would you please come back up again? I know we're, and Elliot, I will allow you to tell me if I'm out of order with what I'm getting ready to ask. As I understand this rezoning, we are not allowed to place any conditions on the property. So once we do the rezoning, then you pretty much have the opportunity to do everything that's allowed by law and allowed by our ordinances. You've heard tonight concerns, and I think valid concerns, expressed by your neighbors. We cannot force you to do anything. Now, we can enforce the laws, and we certainly will do that. But we cannot ask you to have any consideration for your neighbors beyond what is ordinarily allowed by law. So what I'm asking you, we cannot compel, we cannot require, we can request that you be extremely sensitive to your neighbors and their concerns expressed tonight. Camel City Yacht Club will draw 2,000 people easily. And you're right, their amplifiers are very, very, very loud. Your servers have gone through the training and they understand what they need to do. However, sometimes when you get busy, they don't have the opportunities to be as thorough as they want to be thorough. If we should see an increase in any kind of alcohol-related incidents that can be tracked back to what you're planning to do, I'll be very candid with you. I will do everything I can to execute any of the available law enforcement agencies, including ALE. Is that right, PJ?
Yeah, that's correct.
ALE. And again, I believe you have the best of intentions. And I want to thank you for considering bringing your property into Lewisville. But also understand that our concerns are real and your neighbors' concerns are real. So that's probably the only statement I can make, but if you understand that.
Yes, sir, I do completely. And I agree 100% with what everyone said. I have no ill will towards anybody. They all made an extremely valid point. Like I said, I want to provide a safe place, but a fun place at the same time. But, I want to keep everybody in line. Last thing I want is somebody to have an accident due to me or my staff and it, affect the community or anybody in general. So I understand.
Yeah, I mean, if they can certainly track a DUI accident, fatality, or even injury back to your alcohol consumed on your property, I'll be the first in line on that lawsuit.
I can understand that completely, and I would be the same way. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
And one other thing, I've often said to folks who might ask for advice is that a good reputation is hard to get, but a bad one is hard to get rid of. And so you don't really want to run into the situation where, you're getting a lot of bad word of mouth from folks out there because, people can have a really bad effect on your business. And we'd like you to be successful as part of the town.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that 100%, and I agree completely. Thank you for the kind words. We just want to succeed. Times are tough as it is, so we want to do our best to have a place for everybody to mingle and have a good time.
Thank you. Council members, any other questions for Lynn?
Yes, I just wanted to say, that kind of responsibility also weighs on us. In any contrary developments, we will feel that as well. And so it's a heavy responsibility.
Yes, ma'am, it is, and we'll do everything in our power. We actually hire some outside staff when we have larger events, so we can not try to run into the issue of, I'm just pouring a drink and giving it to the guy. So we do try to take the steps necessary to be as safe as possible as we can be.
I guess this is kind of true now that you will be part of Lewisville, but if we anticipate there are issues, we certainly will have PJ and his deputies sit at your entrance and breathalyze everybody that's coming out of there. And that there's nothing quicker to ruin a reputation and also a business than that. Yes, sir. Thank you. All righty. Any more discussion?
Public hearing?
Yeah. Thank you, Elliot. We are now in a public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience who would just to speak in opposition or in support of this petition? I see no one moving. We'll close the public hearing. Council members, what's your pleasure?
Make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Lawson makes the motion. Dr. Sadler makes the second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. Welcome to Lewisville, and we look forward to you being a great business, successful business, a great resident, and a good addition to our town.
For the record, could I get a clarification from the movement whether that was motion including
Motion to
adopting
approve.
the consistency and reasonableness statement in staff's report?
In the staff packet, the technical packet, the consistency and determinations should be in there, if you recall. Just maybe a resolution.
Do we need to restate the motion?
Restate the motion.
Okay. Elliot, if you'll guide Tom in his...
Sure, there's actually a canned motion in the packet.
I don't have the packet.
Mr. Lawson, did you bring your can?
I don't have the packet.
Okay.
Elliot, would you state the motion which Mr. Lawson will...
Yeah.
Sure. I move to approve this request based upon the consistency and reasonable determination statements that are included in the board agenda packet as may be amended.
That's exactly what I said, yes.
Very
And I
good.
second that.
And Dr. Sadler revives his seconding. Any discussion? Very good. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you. All righty, we're about halfway through our business tonight.
Is this motion to adjourn?
Very good. Stacy, you have our first item of new business.
Yes, and I anticipate it not taking quite as long. In 2020, the town adopted the Northern Piedmont Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan. Law does require this plan to be updated every 5 years and is done through the State Emergency Management Office and their consultants. All counties and municipalities within the Northern Piedmont will adopt this plan in order to be eligible for federal funding should a hazard take place in our community. Once adopted, this plan in its entirety, about 1,100 pages, will be available in the town manager's office at Town Hall if anyone would like to view that plan. Staff does recommend approval of Resolution 2025-029 before you tonight to adopt the 2025 updated Northern Piedmont Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Any questions for the manager?
Yes, Stacy, I have a question. Thank you. Is there a cost incurred for us to update this as it's
No, ma'am, there is not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank goodness, I thought you were going to ask her to read it.
What's your pleasure, council?
Move to approve Resolution 2025-029.
I'll second it.
Mr. Huffman makes a motion, Ms. Hunt makes the second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. Stacy, you're up again.
Okay, so we are excited to start opening up the Mayor Mike Horn Amphitheater for usage located at Jack Warren Park. In anticipation of allowing rentals and usage of the amphitheater, rules must be established in our town code. The proposed rules that staff has come up with that we discussed at briefing have been provided for you, and they are very similar to those required at the pavilions at Jack Warren Park and Shallowford Square. We wanted to be as consistent as we could, and then include maybe one or two more for the types of events or something that might happen at this amphitheater facility. So we bring to you tonight ordinance 2025-024, amending the Lewisville Town Code, Chapter 16, to establish rules for the Mayor Mike Horn Amphitheater.
Thank you. Any questions for the manager?
Yes, please. Thank you, Stacy. This being an outdoor facility compared to the Mary Alice Warren Community Center, could you briefly say some of the differences that either are allowed or aren't allowed, like outdoor burning would probably be one?
Yeah, they would not be allowed to have any sort of outdoor burning or anything. We do allow that at Jack Warren Park Pavilion only for the grill that is provided there at that facility. So since there's not anything like that at this facility, then no outdoor burning. We still have the same similar regulations when it comes to decorations, when it comes to emptying trash that might be included in those receptacles that's around the establishment. The timing is still the same. No events or anything past 10 o'clock, just like all of our other facilities. And then we do ask, even though the bathroom facilities at Jack Warren Park could be for either, we do still ask them in their rental agreements to check the bathrooms, check behind them, make sure they're acceptable for other patrons that may be using those when they have an event, things like that. Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll make a motion.
Second?
Is there a particular language that Mr. Lawson needs to use in this motion? No.
Move to adopt ordinance 2025-024 would be great.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Very good.
Really, Elliot, honestly.
We have the motion by Mr. Lawson. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Welch makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. Stacy, you're up once again.
All right. Lastly, for me tonight, ordinance 2025-025. So the last step to begin actually offering this for rentals is the establishment of fees associated with the usage of the facility. In order for the fees to be charged for any rentals that someone would like to do, they must be reflected in the town's fee schedule. So what we've done before you tonight is staff does recommend consistency as well for all of our outdoor structures. So we are entertaining the same hourly rates and facility fees as our pavilions. That would be $35 for the first 4 hours of a rental, $15 for every additional hour. There is a $100 surcharge for anyone who does not live within the town limits who is a non-resident that might want to rent the facility, and then a $200 refundable cleaning deposit. That is the same fee schedule as our other outdoor facilities, those other two pavilions. And so tonight before you is ordinance 2025-025 to amend the fee schedule to establish fees associated with the Mayor Mike Horn Amphitheater.
Any questions for the manager? Mr. Lawson, do you think you can get this motion right? Yes, I would make a motion to approve resolution 2025-030 facility use exemption.
No.
That's
No, fee schedule.
Dash 025. Fee schedule.
Fee
Sorry.
schedule.
And it's an order. All right, I'll have Elliot read all my motions. That's probably safest. Ordinance 2025-025. Second. We have a motion by Mr. Lawson, a second by Dr. Sadler. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Angie.
Yes, sir. Before council tonight is Resolution 2025-030 for a facility use exemption request that we received from the Lewisville United Methodist Church Preschool for them to host a staff Christmas party in December. This request was submitted last year in 2024 and was approved by council. So staff is recommending, and so did the Special Projects Review Committee has recommended approval of this resolution 2025-030.
Any questions for Angie? Entertain a motion, please, other than Mr. Lawson.
I'm staying out of this.
I'll move to,
No,
sorry, did you say something?
Nope,
else?
it's for all you.
Okay. I'll approve resolution 2025-030. Yes, facility use for the United Methodist Church Preschool.
We're so tired.
We have a motion by Ms. Welch, a second by Mr. Huffman. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. Administrative report. Stacy.
All right, upcoming events. So a few things coming up in August and early September. So this Saturday, Rev On, the Foreigner Experience, is playing at Shalford Square from 7 to 9 p.m. That is August the 16th. Next, on August the 28th, candidates for the upcoming election are encouraged to attend an informational session about our town. They have been contacted by email inviting them to that. A reminder to folks that town offices will be closed on Monday, September 1st in observance of Labor Day. Lastly, Saturday, September 6th at the square from 7 to 9, Landslide will perform a tribute to Fleetwood Mac. And I would also like to just quickly mention that we do have a lot of ongoing programming at the Mary Alice Warren Community Center. So residents are welcome to check our website at lewisvillenc.net for all of those opportunities at Mary Alice.
Very good. In fact, I walked through I had our state senator out here today, and we took a tour of Mary Alice Warren Community Center, and all the Crosby scholars were there, and it was lovely. They were spread out on all the chairs on the porch, and they were having what appeared to be a really wonderful session. So, and my heart feels so good every time I walk through there and see all the people that are using it, how it's being used in different ways. So, I don't know where I was going with that. It's a late hour.
How many young people work do you know about?
I'm going to say 70 or 75.
No.
Yeah, it was a big, they were a good group. They were in the living room. They were in the chairs in the lobby way. They were out on the porch. I think they were doing meditation or something out on the porch. I thought that was really interesting.
You don't know how many were from students from Lewisville, do you?
No, but I want to ask that question of Crosby because I don't think they were adequate in their response to their questionnaire to get a list of Crosby scholars that lived in Lewisville. I think that would be very helpful to us next time. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still awake, we are now at the second opportunity for you to share your comments with the town council. Please come forward, state your name and your address.
John Thomas, 6205 Forest Court, Swan and Nelson. I will be issuing to us an affiliate and town council. The town council race. I have elected 80 of the required signatures. We were September 9th. The old ballot. The worst time of year is, I think, I genuinely want the white sheet.
Stop. You can't petition. You can't campaign.
Okay. But while I'm on the subject, I did want to say that my thoughts to my colleague, that is right. Two of his favorite songs are Silver Springs by Fleetwood Mac, Tupac's Hero by Sawaka.
There you go. We're going to see you at both concerts.
Yeah. But I just want to thank the shout for all the service years. Thank you all.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Allen, in the sense of fairness and equal time, would you like to say anything?
Others in the audience.
Here.
Yeah.
Who I am, and I haven't had dinner yet.
Oh.
Yeah, me either.
We have
Yeah, in the
Billy
back.
and
Billy. You're in the back. Yeah. Would you like equal time?
And Geraldine? Or?
No campaigning.
Tell us how
Nice to meet everyone here tonight. I'm Billy Carter. It's been a great
Address.
Oh, you're sorry. Fortunately for Brookway West Drive, Michigan. It's been a great experience here with you guys. I love to see civic engagement live in action. That's all the kids were so excited to watch. Also, is to give us hear their points and give their takes on the situation.
Oh, thanks. That makes a big difference. But yeah, so it was great to watch that. I love the art of debate. I love the idea of making decisions that are right for people. I respect I respect the task it is for town council and for the mayor. You want to do what's right for both sides that are involved, and do what's right for the town as well. I think it was a great decision overall. I know it was hard to make as a town council, but I think you did what was consistent from before, and you explained the decision to the residents, And I think that's what you should do as a town council. So it was great to watch. I love coming here, hearing Mayor Mike Horn handle those sessions. I kind of watch what he does. He speaks when he's supposed to speak. He sits back and he lets you guys take over when it's supposed to be taken over. I think it's a great job that he's done for the town. I would love to, continue the legacy for what you've done so far. So
Checks in the mail.
thanks, my piece. no, just for free.
Jeremy, would you like to come up and say a couple of words?
He knows you're not running, right?
Yeah, I'm not running again, so there it is that.
Hey, still.
Great.
I'm green. I'm good to go, right? Okay. So Trip Gallop, 208 Lakeway, Lewisville. I'm just really excited to be here, and I've really enjoyed getting to know some faces on some names that I've heard just through being a part of Lewisville for living here since 2013, but I've been a part of Lewisville and around Clemens and Davie County my whole life. And just getting to meet the sheriff and talk to Mike a little bit and hear the dialogue that goes on amongst this council is very reassuring that that things are good in Lewisville and that the future is held right and that the right people are in the right place. I actually really also appreciate the award that you receive as well for the financial reporting. I think that's great. Lynn, my wife is very appreciative of HOA for Shallowford Lakes and how responsive you've been to some questions she's had. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to this experience, and thank you very much for the time.
Very great. Mr. Lawson, you are a candidate.
I don't think
You've had ample time tonight. But would you
Yeah, I
like to
think
cap
you've
it off?
spoken. It's just good to see everybody out tonight. Thank you for staying this late. Trust us, we know you're putting in the mileage. There's no doubt.
Yes, Ms. Walker, please come up. Okay, and Mr. Thompson is behind her. Okay.
My name is Joyce Walker. I live at 2600 Creekwood Drive in Winston-Salem, not in Louisville. But anyway, I just wanted to thank the mayor and council in the absence of our current president of the Civic Club, who had some family matters to take care of. But we really appreciate what you've done. And Mike always says he forgets. Well, he actually does forget. And for those who stayed late, I want everyone to know that if it had not been for Mike Horn, we would not have our scholarship program going on as long as it has. And we really appreciate everything that Mike does for the Civic Club and for these youngsters. So that's all I wanted to say.
Checks in the mail, thank you. Mr. Thompson.
Steve Thompson, 737 Lewis Clemens Road. If I say something wrong, stop me. Regardless of your party affiliation, I think everybody should get the chance to run. You shouldn't have to get signatures. Just my opinion. Get out and vote.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? Very good. Council members, it's up on our court.
Mayor, I do have a statement, and I wrote it down, which I'm glad, because I wouldn't have remembered it all if I had known tonight was going to go as long as it did. But this is something that I think is huge for our town, and it illustrates what our businesses are doing to support our residents and those that come to Lewisville. It's going to be short, but I'm going to read it here. As many and hopefully all are aware, there is a extensive opioid problem in our country, and it's getting increasingly severe. In our own very Forsyth County, last year in 2024, 1,700 calls for overdoses occurred. 608 of them had Narcan administered or a similar drug that counteracted the impacts of opioids. Life-saving Narcan is now available for free in Lewisville, and it is the only location in western Forsyth County to have free Narcan. Lewisville Family Counseling is pleased to announce that life-saving Narcan is now available for free. It has partnered with the Forsyth Regional Opioid and Substance Use Team, FROST, to make Narcan available for free to the public and to the surrounding area of Lewisville and the county. This distribution box is located just inside the ground floor foyer offices of Lewisville Family Counseling at 6614 Shallowford Road. If you're not familiar, that is the brick building with the two white pillars that way. So feel free to stop in there. You do not have to be a client of Lewisville Family Counseling. You do not have to enter their offices or give any information. You You walk in, you take the box, it's on the wall, there's a steel-mounted box. You can take 2 doses, 10 doses, 30 doses. It'll get restocked whenever it runs out. Narcan is a safe and effective life-saving treatment in case of opioid overdose. Each box, like I mentioned, contains 2 doses of nasal spray, and you have directions on the box and what to look for, so please seek immediate medical assistance if you have to use it or you suspect an overdose. This is something that I think is huge. I work very closely with people that have been impacted by opioid addiction in our Triad area. It can be a family member, it can be a cousin, it can be a grandfather that goes to the hospital, gets a pain medication, and then all of a sudden you've got a problem because he accidentally doubles up on the dose because he's not familiar with it. Having Narcan in your car, your purse, and your medicine box in your house can save a life, and last year it did, and this year it will continue. So that's my statement, and I appreciate Lewisville Family Counseling for all they're doing for us.
Thank you, Mr. Humphrey. Anyone else?
I want to thank Ivan for that. It's great information. Could save a life for sure. Thank you.
It looks like we're reclining back in our seats, so I guess we're finished with council comments. Just briefly, Lynn, you did, again, once a spectacular job over the course of time that you've been here on our UDO. We talk about legacies that we leave. This will be one that you will left Lewisville for making our planning process better. So thank you very much.
Stop making me cry.
I'll definitely stop.
No, I think what he means to say is be sure you're present when he goes for his annual review this year.
That's right.
That would be a good document.
Yeah, that's not where I go. Staff, once again, thank you all for your amazing work. Each meeting you amaze me at how well you're prepared and how well you deliver and how much you care about the residents of Lewisville. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, thank you so much. It's now 9:35. You guys have been here a long time. I appreciate all of you staying as long as you stayed. This has been an extraordinarily long meeting, but we dealt with some, I think, very important issues for the residents of Lewisville. Those of you watching at home, if you're still awake on TV6, or if you're watching in one of the future rebroadcasts of our council meeting, thank you for sticking with us. Those of you watching on Facebook, thank you very much. And if there's no objections, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And second.
Dr. Sadler makes the motion. Ms. Waltz makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. Good night, folks.
Pardon.